Hello, everyone. It is a wonderful Sunday, and you have these two jabronis back as we are doing some more WrestleMania flash from the past. And we're moving on to WrestleMania 2 because we've gotten so far.
No, do we have to?
I mean, if you want, you can go to LA. We'll skip New York. We go both, and we'll do this. We'll both start in New York. I'll go to Chicago. You go to LA, and we'll finish the show that way. How's that sound?
Uh,
Let's time travel. Let's get the DeLorean out. And let's get the Miami Vice music playing while we're traveling in time with the DeLorean. Sounds like a plan, right? I'm
here.
down for it.
Okay. So before we get
Yes.
started, I
Mm-hmm.
feel I feel the need to mention this. Now, it's been a few weeks since we did our WrestleMania 1 rewatch,
You need the need for speed, folks. Go ahead.
but I found something out when I was looking up the star ratings because we talked about the star ratings, of course, the Meltzer ratings.
Oh, yes, the glorious thing that Meltzer calls ratings.
Right. Now, there may be an issue. And here's why I say this. There's
Ooh.
one of two fights, Jesus. Well, it could be. There's one of two sites that I've found that kind of like list Meltzer's old star ratings and everything.
Gotcha.
One of them is the website profightdb.com, also known as the Internet Wrestling Database. The other one is iwnerd.com. Okay.
Okay.
So this is the reason I'm bringing this up. So when I was looking at the WrestleMania 1 ratings, okay, so Tito Santana against the Executioner, both sites say 2.5 stars. King Kong Bundy versus SD Jones, both say dud. Ricky Steamboat against Matt Bourne, both say 3.25. Brutus Beefcake against David San Martino, both say 2 stars.
Okay.
JYD against Greg Valentine, both say half a star. Here's where things start deviating for some reason, and I don't know why, but I will also leave it to you to decide which is right, okay? Um, Pro Fight DB lists the tag title match of Nikolai Volkov and the Iron Sheik against the US Express as 1 star. They list the Body Slam match between Andre the Giant and Big John Studd as 3 stars. And they list the women's title match of Wendy Richter against Leilani Kai as -2 stars. Okay. That just doesn't sound right, right?
No.
IWNerd.com lists the tag title match as the 3 star match, Andre John Studd as the -2 star match, and Leilani Kai Wendy Richter as the 1 star match. I am of the inclination that the the way it's listed on IW Nerd is correct because I don't see how you would rate the Andre Stud match 3 stars, the tag title match 1 star, and the women's title match -2. So I
Yes.
really think IW Nerd is accurate on that one. And they both have no rating for the main event match, the Hogan Mr. T against Piper and Wardorf, which we talked about as I have no idea why there's no rating for that match.
That's interesting.
Now, the other reason I bring that up
Uh-oh.
is because as we are going to watch this show,
Mm-hmm. Oh boy.
there is more deviation, okay?
Someone didn't know how to read.
But the deviation, because I looked ahead of this, and I don't remember exactly what the deviation was. I just remembered that there was one.
Mhm.
Um, the deviation is in the opposite way, in the sense that the site that I just said I think is wrong about WrestleMania 1,
Yeah.
I think is right about WrestleMania 2.
Oh boy.
But we'll get to that as we go along.
Oh Lord.
But yeah, it's like, so God damn it, which one of you fuckers can't get this right? Oh, both of you? Wonderful!
Splendid.
I'm not subscribing to the Observer just to look up old WrestleMania star ratings.
Oh God. I wouldn't waste my money on the Observer.
Oh, I wouldn't either. I mean, dude, all right, to not get off on a huge rant, just
Hmm.
there was some because again, the way the YouTube algorithm works is that you click on one thing, they'll keep popping up in your feed, and I'm a sucker and I'm a glutton for punishment. So
Yes,
I
you are.
clicked I clicked on one Meltzer Alvarez short video, so now they constantly pop up. Sometimes it's Alvarez talking to this other to Lance Storm. Sometimes it's Meltzer talking to this other guy. I don't know who he is, but he strikes me as being a bit of a doofus. I mean, who am I to talk? I look like one. Ooh. But they were talking about the whole Ricochet thing.
Oh,
I'm sure you're aware. For those that aren't aware, Ricochet, who needs to get the fuck off Twitter,
he does.
took exception to somebody criticizing his acting after in a video that was, I think, like a backstage video from like after he lost his title at last week's pay-per-view. Um, this person said something like, his acting hasn't improved, which I think is a fairly valid criticism, quite frankly. Ricochet always struck me as being pretty fake. I mean, and obviously he's doing all this like Andrew Tate-esque shit, which is something we don't fucking need either. But anyway, um, this person on their Twitter profile mentioned that they have multiple sclerosis, which is a very debilitating disease. I've seen people afflicted with multiple sclerosis and who eventually died of multiple sclerosis. It is
Yep.
not pleasant,
Nope.
by any stretch of the imagination. My
At
dad
all.
has fibromyalgia, which is like on the same general spectrum as multiple sclerosis, just not nearly as severe. Anyway, Ricochet tweeted back to this person, "I'm glad you got MS," which is a pretty fucked up thing to do.
Yep.
And if you're going to try to defend him as saying, "Oh, well, he's being a heel, he's being this, he's being that," look. Kayfabe has been dead for many, many years. We all know it.
Yeah.
While I don't really have problem with people trying to continue to just to be a heel online and everything like that, there are still certain lines that I think it's best you don't cross because, like it or not, we live in a very connected, instant reaction world, and people are going to get offended at shit you say no matter what you say, for better or for worse.
Yep.
Saying that you're glad somebody has a debilitating disease is kind of fucked up to me. It's like, well, I don't know, the president celebrating the death of the man who investigated him.
Same thing.
Anyway, um, but Ricochet was doubling down on it for a while before he finally issued an apology of sorts. Your mileage may vary if the apology was sincere. I think it was more along the lines of because people were calling him out on his apology.
Oh
Uh,
yeah. Yeah, I saw.
uh, because somebody probably finally got in his ear, whether it was his poor wife who was definitely catching strays and who deleted her Twitter because I guess they
Hmm.
were getting death threats, which is also equally fucked up.
Yes, it is.
You don't, who gives, okay, yeah, he said something really fucking stupid and hurtful online. You don't need to give him death threats.
Yeah. And to somebody that
You
has,
definitely don't need to
nothing
give
to
his
do with
wife.
it.
You definitely don't need to give his wife death threats. While she's obviously shown questionable taste and character, I guess you could say. But anyway, but somebody probably, whether it was his wife, whether it was Tony Khan, and if it was Tony Khan, I applaud Tony Khan for doing it. I've always said I think Tony Khan is generally well-meaning, though I
Yeah.
think he's kind of an idiot. That's another story. Somebody I think finally got in his head and said, "Dude, fucking take this down, apologize, so we can get past this." You
Yeah.
know?
Which needed to be
Uh,
done.
yeah. So hopefully that's what happened. And
I mean,
again,
if he was trying to be like stay to his heel persona, fine, but at the same point, be very mindful of what you're saying as far as your heel persona is concerned.
yeah. And I've heard some people, I don't know if they're trying to defend him or just deflect it. Either way, it doesn't really work. But like, what about all the stuff MJF says? And it's like, well, MJF is pretty much always in character, and he's never really deviated from that. Um, and I think everybody knows MJF is in character.
Yeah.
With the shit that Ricochet has done, it's not always like, you can't always really necessarily say he's obviously in character and everything. And really, what the stuff that MJF is doing is really just the shit that like Rick Rude did back in the day. Like when Rick Rude came out for his matches, he'd always do that spiel, what I'd like to have right now. This is the microphone, not, you know, is for all of you fat out of when like that's the kind of shit that MJF has always done. Unless I'm forgetting something, I don't remember
I
MJF.
think the most heinous
Haha,
thing, and
it's funny that you have a debilitating disease. I don't
yeah,
remember.
I think the most uh obscure thing he's ever really said on TV really was like the storylines when he was um a little storyline he was with Pillman's against Pillman's son, Pillman Jr., and he would make stuff about, your dad being dead and all that jazz. Um
Oh, I mean, shit. Randy Orton was talking about Eddie Guerrero being in hell.
yeah. So I mean it's not really anything. And it's funny because MJF, another sidestep, he did an interview. Um and he he thought the most heinous thing he ever said on TV was calling his boss a mark. I was like, "Are you serious? Like, you think that's the worst thing you've said on TV? Okay, if you say
Well,
so."
it's the worst thing from the aspect of, yeah,
I was just like, "Okay, if you say so." But all right, on to WrestleMania 2.
yeah. So, but anyway, the whole point I was trying to get at was the clip that I clicked on was Meltzer and the other guy. I think they were talking about the Ricochet thing, but the whole video was about this like tribalism thing, and I don't know how he got off on this tangent. And it was once again just another situation uh of Meltzer making excuses for AEW in a roundabout way and everything, as if he was. Again, it was, this was a clip, it was a short clip, so there was probably a lot of context missing, but he was almost making it sound as if, well, if WWE fans weren't so tribal, nobody would have really paid that much attention to this. That's the way it kind of came off, the way that this was
Mm,
clipped. And this
I
is not
I
somebody else
disagree with
clipping
that.
Meltzer's shit. This is Meltzer's channel clipping this shit. So it's a, I don't fucking know. But once again, Meltzer, what the fuck? He has,
Yeah,
he has,
I don't 100% agree with that. If there wasn't tribalism, it wouldn't have been gotten this much storyline to it, which I actually disagree with that.
Meltzer also trying to talk about other people being tribal is pretty fucking hysterical. I saw somebody comment on the video like, oh, actually, let me pull it up real quick because it really fucking annoyed me. Um, because again, somebody was basically trying to deflect, and it's really dumb. Um, Somebody posted a comment on that video. When it comes to wrestling tribalism, Dave is the original tribal chief. Another guy replied, "Yeah, not Vince or Eric, who fanned the flames of tribalism during the Attitude Era. It's definitely Dave, who just wrote about what was happening at the time." I replied to that guy, "Unca Dave was being tribal long before the Attitude Era."
Yeah.
Another guy replies to me, "How so? When did he ever say, right, insert company name here is better than insert company name here, and you should only follow it because the other one sucks?" I just replied to him, "Have you ever looked at his history? It's all right there. Being tribal is a lot more than being as blatantly obvious as what you wrote. You don't, you're not tribal because you say, oh, Mid South Wrestling is the best ever and WWF sucks, and you should only ever watch Mid South." Because that's not the way that Dave Meltzer ever wrote. I mean, if he did, then he would definitely wouldn't be able to ever deny any allegations of, bias and shit like that.
Mhm.
I'm like, I was gonna say in my comment back to this guy, just go look at his year-end awards for the '80s, and you can pick it up pretty fucking easily. But then he'd probably say, "Well, he doesn't pick those; his readers pick." He basically tells his readers how to vote. Do they follow him? Not always. Do they follow him 90% of the time? Yes.
And
So
you gotta think about it. Look at the people who were winning those awards in the 80s.
yeah, he's always had, it's ebbed and flowed, but he's always had a bias for Japanese wrestling. We know that. There were
Yes, and
times
here's
where
the
he
thing, when the Japanese wrestlers are winning awards, How are American people in the 80s voting for shit can't even fucking watch?
Right. Yeah, because
That's the part that's like,
it
come
wasn't
on,
easy
dude.
to get your hands on All Japan and New Japan
No,
back in the 80s. It wasn't.
no. Good luck with that.
But you would see like the stretches where like, oh, like, he's going after world class right now, or in sometimes justifiably so for when he did, but oh, he's going after WWF because Gorilla Monsoon's constantly winning worst announcer or something like that. Or then as it got into the 90s, it kind of shifted where it was like he was more pro WWF and he was very anti WCW, even when the NWO was going on and the WCW was hot. A lot of his stuff was very anti WCW. So it just because he didn't like
Mhm.
Bischoff, So, I
This is
mean,
what it
again,
is.
you don't have to look that hard to find it.
It's obvious. I mean, he's pretty much done this his whole career. Like he's made a career on doing this,
Yeah. I mean,
and then plays it off like he's not, which he really is.
he plays it off like he's not because again, and this is the fascinating thing to me about listening to these Meltzer clips. He talks in this roundabout, non-specific, word salad way where he uses 10 words when 2 words will suffice kind of shit,
I
so
know.
multiply that out. Um it's like so like, by the time he makes a point, you don't really know what he was trying to say anymore, and you forget what the initial topic was. So
And
that's why
if
you
you do
don't really
remember,
listen.
you just listen to him or like you made no sense and you got no point across. Okay,
Right.
great.
It's like I'll make this joke because I think it's funny. That's why I'm going to say it. Ultimate Warrior promos make more sense than the shit that Meltzer says sometimes.
That's so true. That is so true.
Ultimate Warrior was looking at his hands and talking about the stars being aligned and the planets being and
The
everything and like
gods coming from the heavens.
yeah they spoke to me. Yeah, you're making more sense than Meltzer.
I know. All right, let's get watching this while we get too carried away.
Too late for that. All right, where do we want to get synced up as best as we can here? So
I'm like 30 seconds in with Vince.
I've got Vince on screen. He's saying hello, everyone. That's what I've got. Is that what you've got?
I just got welcome to WrestleMania.
Okay, hold on. Welcome to the greatest sports entertainment spectacular of all time. Welcome to WrestleMania. Okay, welcome to WrestleMania. Shot of the crowd.
I'll pause. He just introduced St. James or whatever her name is.
Yeah, he's in. I've got him introducing Susan St. James right now. America's number one actress today.
All right.
Okay.
I think we're on the same page.
Okay. So for fans who don't know, because I don't think she's had a big profile for many years now, Susan St. James was an actress who, at the time that WrestleMania 2 going on here, was on the sitcom Kate and Alley with Jane Curtin from Saturday Night Live. It was a fairly successful sitcom, ran for about 6 seasons in the mid to late 80s.
Yeah.
But here's the other thing. Okay, Ray Charles is coming into the ring now.
Yep. I got him too.
Yeah. Susan St. James was married to Vince's close personal friend, Dick Ebersol.
Really?
I forgot this, but like when I was looking up at her Wikipedia page, I remembered it because there was a whole thing in there's this one SNL channel that's out there that's been doing a series of like, kind of like you doing like an overview of every SNL season from the start. They're up to about season 28 or 29 right about now.
Okay.
So they still got a few decades to go. But they talked about how she and Dick Ebersol met when she hosted SNL in the early 80s when Dick Ebersol was running SNL during Lorne Michaels' hiatus from the show in the early 80s.
Okay.
Like the period that most people say is like the worst ever SNL period, which is like, yeah, maybe, maybe not. But so the fact that she's Dick Ebersol's wife and Vince was so close with Dick Ebersol, so him calling her America's number one actress today and her commentating with Vince during the New York portion of the show here, fucking hysterical.
That's interesting.
In it though? It's almost like Vince plays favorites or something.
Nah, Vincey do that?
Hey, I will give it to Vince though. This is when he was still in the primo, Vince hair mode. Like, his hair was just, brilliant.
Yeah. No, it was. He had that good young man hair.
Yeah. And I know some people might say it's disrespectful to be talking over somebody performing America the Beautiful. I said, well, first of all, it's just America the Beautiful. No, actually, no, that's okay. I love America the Beautiful. America the Beautiful actually is a much better song, in my view, than the Star Spangled Banner or God Bless America. May not be an opinion everybody shares, but I honestly think America the Beautiful is a better song than either of those. But anyway, you can't do much better than having Ray Charles sing America the Beautiful. So
Very correct on that.
just
I
saying.
think I think I kind of like may agree with you. I like this song a little bit more than I like the other two.
Well, one of my favorite commercials ever, believe it or not, was several years ago now. Coke did a commercial where I don't remember if it aired during the Super. I think it did air during the Super Bowl, and I don't remember which one though. But it was one where you heard people singing the America Beautiful, but they were singing it in all different foreign languages.
Ah, yeah, yeah. Remember that.
And it's like that's like what the American ideal was, bring me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning for freedom and everything. So that's what to me, that's like what America was always meant to be. Very much not that way now. Um, so like showing the pictures now, you show like Washington and Lincoln and Kennedy and Martin Luther King. It's kind of funny. It's always been the story that Vince has always been a huge fan of Martin Luther King Jr., which is funny considering the racism accusations.
uh,
I
uh,
think I think Vince is probably one of those people who's like subconsciously racist, like he doesn't really realize he is, which to be fair, I think a lot of people can be.
yeah, a lot of people can be.
You know, um,
Oh yeah, with the picture of Hogan.
yeah, I know that's hysterical. Um, uh, of course, Vince did do the whole my N-word thing with Booker T years after this, but
Yeah, yeah.
no, I don't know what Ray Charles's professional career was like at this point in 1986. I mean, he was obviously not in his prime anymore, of course, as a recording artist or what have you. But I really wonder if he could have possibly thought to himself, in just a few years, I'll be famous for doing Diet Pepsi commercials.
I know, right?
You got the right one, baby. Those ads were everywhere for a bunch of years. So this is interesting now. Then now they cut to Mean Gene, who's in Rosemont.
Yep.
He's not in New York. And, of course, I keep saying New York, but we got to be a little specific here. It's not technically New York, it's technically Long Island.
Well, yeah, true.
Well, I'm just saying,
I mean, same thing with Chicago, like it's Rosemont.
well, that's why I said Rosemont and not Chicago. Oh dear, here we go. Piper and Orton and Lou Duva, the legendary boxing trainer. Jesus Christ. Piper saying that he grew his hair long so you can tell the difference between him and Mr. T.
I know.
You know, I love Hot Rod, but he said a lot of fucked up things in his career that could be construed bad in terms of like racially,
Yeah, yeah.
homophobically. He made so many things during like the Goldust feud, and then like when he went to WCW, that we were pretty much like anti-gay. Uh, so yeah.
Yeah, he's made some crazy comments in his career.
Yeah, and I don't want to make excuses for the guy, but it's like he had a tough upbringing, of course. Living on the streets and shit like that. And I also think he's the kind of guy that like, just he was just unfiltered. but I don't know. So
Oh, he was definitely unfiltered.
wait, did he just say I will never paint myself like shave myself like an Indian and paint myself black?
I,
Oh, what did he do 4 years after this?
I pretty much.
WrestleMania 6, the which I think is not available anymore. Like I don't think that match is available. I don't think it was available on like the network. And I've never watched WrestleMania 6 on Netflix here now, but I'm guessing it's not there either.
We're gonna find out when we get to WrestleMania 6, I guess.
Now, this is an interesting match on paper because you should think that this would be a great match.
Yes.
Val Morocco, Paul Orndorff.
But how the match ends is very interesting.
Orndorff, anyway, you got to be thinking, I was in the main event last year. I'm in the fucking curtain jerker this year. Two guys with great physiques, no doubt about it.
Yes.
Morocco, this is interesting. He was very conspicuously absent from the WrestleMania 1 card. And he was very much a big part of the WWF at the time. He was a former Intercontinental Champion and everything, but he wasn't on WrestleMania's 1 card. Now, a video cultaholic, or I'm sorry, not cultaholic, what culture? Now, this is interesting to do. They got Morocco and Orndorff then cutting promos, pre-taped audio promos as the match starts here. I love Morocco referring to Mr. Fuji as the sinister Mr. Fuji.
Oh yeah, I hear it now.
But anyway, Morocco was kept off the WrestleMania card. And again, What Culture put out a video years ago with like fascinating facts about WrestleMania 1, and they said that according to an interview Morocco gave years later, he was held off the card because he was due to work a house show program with Hogan after WrestleMania 1, which he did. But you would think
Just
you
put him on
could
a
help
show.
you could help draw some heat for that and push Morocco as like, oh, this is the next good challenger for Hogan by having him squash somebody on the WrestleMania 1 card. I mean, shit, they had Bundy squash SD Jones, and it's not like any of the matches on that card were extremely long, so
No, they could have done it.
it feels like a bit of a missed opportunity there to have not had Morocco on the WrestleMania 1 card.
Orndorff has the advantage.
Ooh, nice drop toe hold there. It's also very funny you see like the WrestleMania 2 apron there, but it only takes up like the middle portion of it.
Yeah.
It's like not like extended the whole way. It's like, oh, the way things evolve over time.
Yes. Now we have digital boards and all that shit.
Oh yes, of course. Well, yeah, that's the thing too, because the NCAA tournament's going on as we're recording this, of course. And what a boring NCAA tournament it's been, but that's another story. Um,
Only a couple upsets here and there.
yeah, but only a couple. Like you didn't have anybody lower than a 12 seed win. All the high seeds won yesterday, second round games, except for Texas, who's an 11 seed. But it's not like an 11 seed Texas counts as a Cinderella to me. They're Texas.
No, they don't count.
They're an SEC team, so anyway. But back in the day, they had like the aprons along like the announce tables of the NCAA tournament games that like listed the 8 teams that were playing at the venue.
Hmm.
Now, of course, we don't have those because they've got the electronic boards and everything
Yeah.
now.
It just shows the team, what conference they're in, and the other team, what conference they're in.
And most of the times they don't even show that on there. They're showing because they're showing fucking advertisements, of course. So
Yeah, that's true.
yeah. Now, this is an interesting part. Orndorff, of course, was in a bit of an interesting run. He had turned face not very long after WrestleMania 1 because Piper and Orton blamed him for losing the match when, of course, it was Orton's fault for hitting Orndorff with the cast. Um, and he aligned himself with Hogan for a while, and I think he was still friends with Hogan at this point. But of course, later in this year, he would turn heel on Hogan.
Yep.
which led to them having a really dynamite program, which culminated in that huge cage match in Toronto, which is really. And then of course they had like the. Well, actually, no, I don't think it was a cage match in Toronto. I think it was just they had a big match at Toronto's Exhibition Stadium, and then they had the cage match on Saturday night's main event where they both were climbing out of the cage on opposite sides, and like their feet hit at the same time, so they had to like restart the match and everything.
Gotcha.
Somebody
Oh,
like a week
here
or two
goes the
ago,
count out, double count out.
yeah, this yeah, so this is a huge disappointment because these two guys could probably have a great 10-minute match.
Yes.
But because of the way that WrestleMania was construed and configured at the time and everything, they go fucking 4 minutes and 10 seconds and go to a double count out.
Yep.
Now, both of the Meltzer tracking sites agree this match was rated by Meltzer a dud.
I would have gave it a one.
I think I might, he probably gave it a dud purely for having a double count out ending. And you know
Yeah.
what? I don't think that's entirely unfair. I think this is a match where you wanted a winner. So like
Yeah, you
this
definitely did.
doesn't do much for either guy.
No.
Well, I guess he's declaring himself the winner. Dynamite drop in, Susan. But anyway, so like a week or two ago, I saw somebody in like a Facebook post say, if not King Kong Bundy against Hogan at WrestleMania 2, who could it or should it have been? And I said, well, that's a good question because think about it, I'm not sure. And I said, when you really think about it, maybe Orndorff was like the only guy that could have really been credible for it. But I said the problem is that Orndorff was still a face. It was probably too soon to have turned him heel by WrestleMania 2. You know what I mean?
I
So
mean, you could have put Piper into it.
you
You
you could
already
have done
have
Piper,
that.
but the thing with that is they had done the Wrestling Classic later in 1985 where they did do a Hogan Piper match.
Hmm.
So I can see why maybe he didn't want to do Hogan Piper for like a third consecutive big show,
Yeah, I guess.
You know who else they could have done because he was at the same venue that night, which would have been really fucking fascinating when you think about it. Hogan, he's an egg sucking dog.
Hmm.
They've done Hogan against Terry Funk.
Yeah. Yeah. That could have worked.
Because
Intercontinental
because
Heavyweight
Funk is on
Championship.
the LA portion of this show, so.
I love how they do Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship, not the Intercontinental Championship, the Heavyweight Championship.
Well, technically, it is the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship. It's just that, yeah, they've just dropped like the weight designations from the belts like a long time ago. I mean,
Yeah.
the only time they ever really was to get like the weight designation of the belt in as like the years went on is when it was like the cruiserweight or the light heavyweight title. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Now, Savage, of course, was not yet in the company at WrestleMania 1, joined later in 1985, and he had only been Intercontinental Champion, I want to say, for about a month or two at this point. He and Tito Santana for the belt in a Boston Garden match, which I know you can find out there. He won the match because like he got like a pair of like brass knucks or something, and he like Tito was trying to like give him like a back suplex, and Savage like clocked him with it and fell on top of him, and of course hit the brass knucks.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Uh-oh. Savage on the mic.
I love the way he's holding it with like two fingers. He's like,
And,
yeah,
and
no
then and
doubt
then
about it.
And then I'm gonna hold the mic in this hand, and then I'm gonna change it over to this hand so I can gesture with the other, and then I'm gonna go back again. Yeah, 'cause you don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, this is the way that I'm not showing you or not. And look at this right now. I'm doing this with my hands, and the microphone is still being held up somehow. You can't figure it out. Ooh, yeah, take it. Who does this guy think it is? Treats his manager like dirt. Yes, I'm very much making fun of Susan St. James. I'm sorry.
You could tell the
Yeah,
animal's in love with her.
yeah. Well, yeah. This was a thing that they did for a while. It was like, yeah,
Yeah.
George Animal Steel playing up the whole. He's an animal. He's crazy. He's like a simpleton thing. Yeah. This was the thing he loved. Oh boy, Macho Man probably saying to myself, "Yeah, I joined this company to work against George Steele. What is going on?"
I know.
Well, when
He
you think
played
about it.
he played that character really well though.
Oh, yeah, George Animal Steel is one of the great all-time characters in wrestling. Maybe not necessarily one of the great workers, but he was a guy who was about the gimmick. Now, see, this is kind of funny that like Savage would be afraid of him.
Yeah, using the chair.
Well, see, here's the thing that you notice about George Animal Steel too. It's all about like like the body language, like the way he moves and
Hmm.
everything. That's what you don't really see today.
No.
Now, nobody has a gimmick that's quite as crazy as this. But like that's a thing that I think maybe you could do to have some of in today's wrestling is guys who like have a specific way that they move and everything. That kind of like helps define the character. More so than just, stupid catchphrases and nicknames.
Yeah, I agree.
So
He's biting his calf muscle. Oh my
he's
God.
biting his boot. Man, that boot must taste really good because he's been in there for about a good 10, 15 seconds. Yeah, he was not biting his calf, he was biting the fucking boot.
Well, where the calf muscle is.
Oh yeah, you're not gonna do that to me. Yeah, I'm gonna knee in the head. Yeah. Oh, I'm being choked out.
Why does that ring look small? Or is it just me?
It no, it does. It does. And
That
see,
one,
that is the thing again. I think I've maybe mentioned this before.
the New York one looks small. Let's see how the other
Yeah.
ones look.
I remember Diamond Dallas Page years ago saying that one of the things that he struggled with when he went to WWF and because it was still WWF in 2001 was that the rings were bigger than the WCW rings. Like I think he said the WCW rings were something like 18 feet by 18 feet, where the WWF rings were 20 by 20. And he said it may not sound like much, but that does make a huge difference when like you've got like a rhythm and a timing down, especially when you're doing like Irish whips and shit like that. And all of a sudden
Yeah.
you gotta get a different rhythm in there. Ooh, that was sloppy. It was Savage on the crossbody. I don't know if that was supposed to be a flip over or not. Elizabeth looking only as she can look.
Stunning.
Yes, especially during this era.
Macho Man through the ropes. He's going underneath the ring.
It's interesting watching this match. You know what I'm really getting a lot of when I'm watching Savage? You can see the similarities between Savage and Ric Flair.
Mm,
The way that he's selling, overselling,
yeah.
um, like how quick he moves and everything.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
No one ever accused the animal of being a mental giant, as he's now biting Savage's arm. Savage is like, hey, you gotta leave space for the Cobra in a few years. Okay. You know what? I'll give Susan St. James that comment. I wonder if he's had his shots. Well, after being bit on the arm by George Animal Steel, that is a legitimate question.
Bringing in flowers to a match.
Now, why was that not a disqualification? He was using an international object and more biting. You must wonder why he isn't eating the flowers yet. Now, why isn't this a disqualification? He's trying to suffocate the man with a bouquet of flowers.
This is funny.
This is ridiculous. I forgot. I have watched this show, but it's been a long time. I totally forgot about this with the flowers.
This is probably only the third or fourth time I've watched this. Second one over again.
Yeah, I think I really may have only ever watched this maybe once or twice in my life. And
Oh, look at this
there's the
the
the the
stuffing
the,
from the
the turnbuckle spot as always, because that was a Georgie Animal Steel staple. You know what's really funny too about Georgie Animal Steel? When he retired, he became a backstage agent. Bret Hart has said Georgie Animal Steel was a great peer, like a great coworker as a wrestler. And he said he was a horrible backstage agent because he said he was a stooge for the office.
interesting.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting, isn't it? Because I think that's the thing too. I think like when you've worked with a guy as like as a fellow in-ring competitor, you kind of expect him to have like loyalty to you and like the locker room. You wouldn't expect him to become like an office stooge, I guess, you know. But apparently, that according to Brett, at least anyway, that's what George Steele did.
This said this match goes 5 minutes and 10 seconds, but I feel like it's been
It's
way over
felt
5
longer than
minutes.
that, yeah. I mean, I haven't been timing this because who's got time for that? Yes, pun intended. Oh yeah, you're gonna get the elbow now. The atomic elbow smash.
And he
Delivered
kicks
only
out.
as I can deliver it. Count the three. Oh, wait a minute. What's going on? He kicked out? What the hell? See, you know what? And think about this too. That was a missed opportunity because that was such a matter of fact kick out. That should have been like a much bigger deal.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, look how quickly he's back up and going back on offense already. He's essentially no sold it.
And he
But
used the ropes in the corner to help get the three count.
only Hogan's allowed to no sell the elbow drop like that.
And that was
Yeah.
a
So then,
weird three count in
so then he
general.
just flips up his legs and does the old superstar Billy Graham feet on the rope spot. I say that's the superstar Billy Graham spot because that's how he won the title from San Martino was with his feet on the ropes. Okay, so yes, that match went 5 minutes, 10 seconds, and it really did feel a couple minutes longer. I might have to actually at some point, if I remember to, which I won't.
So he's going to tear open another turnbuckle so they have more shit to clean up.
I know. It's like you gotta be the guy coming out for the next match, or like the guy's gotta clean this up. You gotta be saying, what the fuck? Susan, you'll be able to see clearly what happens because I don't think you saw it the first time because I don't think you have eyes. Okay, both of the sites that I have the star ratings for agree. That match was 1 star. As now he's going after the referee because he's an animal.
I hope that official has his own bodyguard.
Now I know work rate wasn't like a thing so much back in the WWF in 1986.
Let's get the brooms out. We got to clean up. Get
But
new
yes, that definitely
turnbuckles.
feels like that should have been better than a 1 star match, but I can't say a 1 star is an unfair rating either. Yep, back to Mean Gene and Rosemont talking to Big John Studd and Bill Fralick. That's a weird pairing. Yeah, I was gonna say Big John Studd was still a heel, and I don't think they were bringing any of the NFL players in the Battle Royal in as heel. So Bill Fralick calling him a dud is kind of funny, actually.
It is.
But this is funny because remember the WrestleMania one, how like they were talking to the heel, and then it was like, and right over here, the face.
I know.
This is kind of the same thing. So Frelick's already insulted him, and Stud's like throwing shit at him now, and Frelick's like, yeah, okay. I think Bill Frelick passed away a few years ago. Yeah, he did. He died back in 2018. He was 56.
Oh wow.
Yeah. He had cancer of some kind. It doesn't say what kind. Oh, yes, here we go.
Jake Snake defeats George Wells, and I'm thinking to myself, who the fuck is George Wells?
Yeah, yeah. I've looked him up. He didn't have a very long career, but he was a wrestler. Of all the wrestlers on this card, he was one of them. So here's another interesting fact. At WrestleMania 1, Ricky Steamboat, of course, wrestled Matt Bourne on the card. Ricky Steamboat had only been in the company for about a month before WrestleMania. And so while he would have maybe been unknown to WWF audiences, he was obviously well established in the Carolinas because he had worked in Crockett and everything.
Yeah.
And Vince obviously had no qualms about using him in a prominent spot on WrestleMania. So similar thing here. Jacob the Snake Up Roberts, as the guy on Wrestling with Regret calls him. Jake had only been in WWF for about a month before this show.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And but of course he was well established in wrestling. He had worked in Georgia, he had worked in Mid-South, he had worked in Crockett. So he was, an established name in that sense. He was not necessarily known to WWF audiences though. It's also very weird to see Jake coming out without the theme music because, he had one of the greatest themes of all time.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, and hey, George Wells is taking it right to him. So, okay, Jake doing like the I'm like staggered and I'm just punching into the air thing. That didn't work for Jake Roberts, if you ask me.
Hmm, not really. His Canadian football career, hence why he's wearing that outfit.
Who, George Wells?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well that makes sense. And then of course, is like any guy who had like a wrestling background, was it like a requirement that they had to do like the flying shoulder tackle?
Maybe back then it did.
Susan St. James very worried about the snake. It's like the snake is your husband. No, that's a little unfair. Whoa, that was actually
Good head scissors.
yeah, especially not a movie you typically saw in WWF at this time either. And especially not from a guy of George Wells' size. George Wells is still alive. He's 78 years old.
Well,
So
yeah,
he was
good for him.
yes, he was close to 40 here. Damn. And yes, he played throughout the 70s in the Canadian Football League. He played for Toronto, Hamilton, and Saskatchewan. Okay. Jake doing that sell was kind of funny.
His selling in this match has been pretty epic.
This has been a squash match for George Wells so far. Jake's gotten like no offense in.
They did a horrible job cleaning up that ring.
They really did. And that's actually again, that's a pretty solid power slam. Yeah, I had like no memories of this match. I thought that for some reason I thought Jake squashed him, but it really hasn't been that way up until now. Jake with the thumb in the eye. Vince really emphasizing that Jake slithers in and out of the ring, of course.
Yeah. Playing off
Oh,
the
there we go.
snake.
There's the knee lift that he used as a finisher for a long time before he came up with the DDT. Oh.
Oh no, here comes the snake.
Now, Jake got what, like maybe three offensive moves in the entire match?
I know.
But at the same time, that does sell just how devastating the DDT is. So that match goes 3 minutes 15 seconds, it says, and there's Damien. Now, believe it or not, and this is a slight spoiler for the match we're about to watch, but Meltzer gave this one 2 stars, and both of the sites agree on that. And that is the highest rated match of the New York portion of the show.
Wow, 2 stars.
Oh, wow. Okay. So how did George Wells manage to get himself to get all worked up like that and be spitting out phlegm like that? That's actually kind of impressive. I think 2 stars is fair for that match. I mean, again there were a couple of good moves. It was a one-way squash, and then all of a sudden Jake won the match. So you can't really rate it much higher.
No.
Why isn't the
Poor
referee?
George.
Why isn't the referee doing something? Oh.
It's a
Poor
huge
George.
fucking
Oh
snake
boy,
too, man.
she is adding nothing. Vince would have been better off just doing the commentary by himself.
I like how he just drags the snake. Boom.
And of course, it's funny because I mentioned, Steamboat being so new to the company prior to WrestleMania 1, Jake being so new to the company prior to WrestleMania 2. Jake and Steamboat would have a pretty memorable feud later in 1986. So, I mean, have they seriously been calling this match from inside these like comfy looking chairs?
Yes, they have. Nothing but luxury for Vince.
I'm gonna be comfortable, damn it, because after I gotta make sure we get the switch over to Rosemont without a hitch. Otherwise, this show's gonna be a failure. Ah.
And if I make a move on this hot chick next to me, no one's gonna see it.
Dick and I are good friends. He'll let me hit on his wife. Ah. They said this was in Phoenix. Was this on a Saturday night's main event? I couldn't tell.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, it was.
Oh yeah, there it is. Okay, there's the ring apron that says Saturday night's main event. I'm trying to. Piper doesn't have knee pads on right now. I know this wasn't like a match proper, I don't think, but I don't remember if Piper typically worked without knee pads. Now, Piper was an actual amateur boxer, and that was another thing on What Culture's fascinating facts about WrestleMania 2. They typed boxers, of course, they get their hands taped and everything.
Your ribs are injured, brother.
Here I am with my good friend, the Hulkster, who will never betray me to Vince when I try to unionize the locker room.
You're getting paid to ask the questions.
It's amazing that 40 years later, I would kind of like Jesse Ventura and despise Hulk Hogan.
Turn of events, right?
Oh, yeah, it's amazing how real life will just skew your things. And I'm still not the biggest fan of Jesse Ventura, but he's definitely more on the right side of things right now, especially much more than Hogan was before he died. So he's saying that to the camera, not to Hogan. Oh, Jesus. But anyway, like so boxers, of course, will have their hands taped before they put them in the gloves.
Yep.
They made Piper make a fist and then taped his hands so that he couldn't extend his hands all the way into the gloves because they were afraid that if he did, he might legitimately beat the shit out of Mr. T because he hated Mr. T so much. And it was also because of the fact that he had an amateur boxing background, whereas I don't know if Mr. T did. And here's Joan Rivers, a year before she would be the voice of Dot Matrix as in Spaceballs. I have nothing against Joan Rivers. I don't think I would want her to be somebody doing ring announcements. I just don't think her voice is good for ring announcing.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Oh, they had to get the chocolate thunder in there.
Oh, okay, so I was gonna say, what is she talking about? Slamming and jamming the basketball. Okay, Daryl Dawkins, Chocolate Thunder. There is a Gish judge. I think my sister's Alexa is talking. I hate that fucking thing. Cab Calloway.
So we have Cab Calloway, a basketball player, and Gordon Liddy as the people who are going to be judging this boxing match.
So we got a legendary entertainer, a all-star basketball player, and a convicted criminal. Wait, what? How did she address G. Gordon Liddy?
I don't know. I missed that part.
And yes, for anybody who doesn't understand what I meant by that, go just look up G. Gordon Liddy. He was one of the Watergate conspirators. He was convicted. He was unapologetic about everything he did. He was a piece of shit.
Timekeeper Herb. Thanks, Herb. Scheduled for a 10 3-minute round.
Okay, I vaguely remember who this guy was, but only in the very vaguest sense. This is another one of those guys who I think it was like you really had to be around during the time guy to know who he was.
10 rounds of box in 3 minutes. Yeah, it didn't last that long.
I can't believe they had this actually scheduled even try to sell that they were going to go 10 rounds.
Well, technically they had to. I mean, at that time, like any boxing event that you were dubbing for anything, exhibition or not, under 10 rounds, people were buying into it.
Okay, while they're doing the intros here for Piper and Mr. T. So Herb, this is straight from Wikipedia. Where's Herb was an advertising campaign for Burger King that ran in 1985 and 1986. The commercials featured a fictional character named Herb who was described as never having eaten a Whopper in his life. Advertisements called on fans to visit their local Burger King in the hope of finding Herb and winning a prize. The campaign also included an I'm not Herb promotion in which customers could get a discounted Whopper by including the phrase in their order. This confused people who tried to follow the promotion because they did not know what Herb looked like. By the time his appearance was revealed, many people had already lost interest in the campaign. The promotion was poorly received and it was the last campaign that the J. Walter Thompson ad agency designed for Burger King.
It was like where's Herb? Where's Waldo?
Yeah, so I'm not going to
Who
read.
is Herb?
I'm not
Who's
going to read the rest
Waldo?
of the thing. I'm just going to say the promotion was. I'll just go to skip to the reception part. The promotion was met with some positive reviews. Time called it clever, and a columnist for the Chicago Tribune stated Herb was one of the most famous men in America. And because like I had to look it up like this, like and obviously I was only 5 years old at this time. This is one of those things that I don't think really was seared into the popular memories of people. Ultimately, however, the Herb promotion has been described as a flop. The advertising campaign lasted 3 months before it was discontinued. I mean, yeah, if you only run an ad campaign for 3 months, it didn't do well.
Wow.
One Burger King franchise owner stated the problem was that there was absolutely no relevant message. Yeah. Although some initial results were positive, the mystique was lost after Herb's appearance was revealed during the Super Bowl. Burger King's profits fell 40% in 1986.
Holy shit.
As a result of the poorly received campaign, Burger King dropped J. Walter Thompson from future advertising and gave their $200 million account to another agency, the name of which is irrelevant. WWF had Herb appear as a guest timekeeper during the boxing match between Roddy Piper and Mr. T at WrestleMania 2 at the Nassau Coliseum on April 7th, 1986. And then they make mention of who was a guest timekeeper during the Chicago, or I'm sorry, the Rosemont portion of the show, which has an odd parallel to Herb, but I don't want to reveal what that is just yet because let's just get to that first.
Yeah.
But seriously, it's like if the ad campaign only lasted 3 months, they revealed what the guy looked like at the Super Bowl, which would have been about 2.5 months before this, and the ad campaign only ran for like 3 months or something like that. Was the ad campaign not already over by this point? I just so it makes you wonder when WWF like booked him to do this
Yeah, that's true.
because WWF and their attempts to be mainstream have oftentimes been accused of being way behind the curve, and this would almost seem like an instance of that.
All right, round one.
All right, I have now spent way too much time talking about Herb, and I don't ever want to do it again.
No, not at all.
Now, one thing, of course, I gotta love about Piper in this boxing match is the plaid trunks.
Keeping to his Scottish ways.
Yeah, and the fact that he's got hot rod on the legs and and everything. So
You're gonna break when I tell you to.
now this guy, I mean, I think he was one of WWF's referees at the time. I can't remember what his name is, but so I'm pretty sure he wasn't ever a boxing referee. So I asked him to be like a boxing referee is kind of.
What makes me laugh too is like Piper's fucking rabbit punches.
I think Piper. Again, we know he didn't like Mr. T.
He didn't like any celebrity that was coming into wrestling.
I think he. I think he was just over it at this point, maybe. And yeah, so Piper disappears from WWF for about 4 months after this match. Again, that was according to the What Culture video that I referenced earlier. And when he comes back, he turns face because by that point is when they had started the whole flower shop segment with Adrian Adonis, and Orton had kind of started taking up with Adonis then. So Piper came back and he was cheered. And but that was the other thing too. They started cheering Piper during this match, I'm pretty sure. So I think Vince maybe also saw the writing on the wall saying, yeah, this guy was so reviled and so hated, but he's not working opposite Hogan anymore. So now he's getting cheered.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if he went off to film a movie when he was gone. He might have been filming that movie Body Slam during those months, for all I know.
Hmm. Yeah,
Um,
I forget how many
it,
movies he made too.
he wouldn't have been filming They Live yet, because I'm pretty sure he didn't do They Live until after he left at WrestleMania 3. Mostly because his hair was longer then. So, um, yeah, this is you can tell neither. Again, Piper may have been an amateur boxer. I don't know if Mr. T had any kind of boxing background, but you can tell that neither one of them were trying to box.
I know. It's not good.
And obviously, again, this is a work, so they're not trying to box, but bell's ringing, they're still going at it. So again, we mentioned before when at the top of the show when Piper was cutting his promo, he's got Orton, of course, and Lou Duva with him, And Mr. T's got Smoking Joe Frazier, the legendary Smoking Joe Frazier, and like I guess men associated with him, and the Haiti Kid, who of course was a victim of Piper and Orton because they cut his hair to look like Mr. T's hair. Was also in Mr. T's corner here. The Haiti Kid, of course, would be in the slightly infamous six-person tag match at WrestleMania 3 involving Hillbilly Jim, King Kong Bundy, and three other uh, midget wrestlers. I don't really like using that term anymore, but it's a little hard to say anything else. So obviously they're trying to make it look like a boxing match with the time between rounds, but I've got the volume turned down a little bit, but yeah, you can tell the crowd is just dead. They don't care. You got a celebrity who was still pretty popular at the time. I'm pretty sure the A team was still going strong in '86, and Piper again was, the hottest deal in the company not all that long ago. He probably still was in a lot of ways, but the crowd's like, what are we watching? You know?
Yeah. I remember watching this live and I was like, what the fuck is this? Like,
Oh, you actually watched this live?
yeah.
Wow, okay. I keep forgetting how old you are.
Yeah, I know.
Man, that's the only response I'm going to get out of you for saying that. Oh, come on, T. Oh, she's just
Yeah, like
small.
when I was watching this, I was very disappointed because at that time, like I'm still a boxing fan, but like I've watched some of the other great boxing matches in the 80s, and then
Oh yeah,
you love pro wrestling at the same time you're getting involved in a pro wrestling, and you're like, okay, Mr. T, can Orndorff really box? And then you get this shit show.
yeah. Well, that's just it. Yeah, it's like the mid to late '80s was another one of like the really high points for especially heavyweight boxing. I think. I mean, that's when Tyson, of course, was
Yeah, I
like,
mean late 80s for that, but like early mid 80s too for the Sugar Ray Leonards and the Hearns and all those guys. Those the middleweights and everything. They were
Yeah. And of course, one of my all-time favorites, a man I've met on multiple occasions, the great Larry Holmes was champion during the '80s a lot. So Piper's throwing these like wind-up haymakers, yeah, and Mr. T goes down. And I say if this was a real boxing match, like just if this if this was a real he kind of kicked him. If this was a real boxing match and Mr. T was looking the way he looked and went down the way he did, the ref would probably call the match right there.
possibly, yeah.
Obviously, again, they're working, but this is the thing where it's again, if you know anything about boxing, you're watching this going, huh?
I know.
And that will be revealed and along those lines again when we get to the star rating for this. We'll kind of see why. Yeah, Piper's really taking it to him. So it's like, again, the whole thing I said about the way they taped his hands, I guess I can kind of understand it. Because I think he maybe is still legitimately getting to T with some of those punches. Because I don't really think Mr. T could sell that well.
Yeah, probably. I don't know.
And look, and I'm not saying that from the aspect that I think he was terrible or anything like that. I'm saying is that he's not a trained wrestler. He's not a trained boxer. So
No.
I don't think he would just know to sell that well. That's what I'm saying. So I think he is definitely feeling some of these punches. Oh, and
Let's throw water across the ring.
he threw water from the bucket onto the thing, but it's like half of it gets on the fucking mat, you know? It's like I know there's no more matches on this card in this arena after this, but still, you're just throwing the water on the fucking canvas. Canvas does not like water. I mean, Piper is still working, you know, the way that Roddy Piper works, you know, he's like jiving around now and he looks like he's having fun almost. Okay, here we go. Mr. T with a little bit of a flurry there. Okay, so the other problem with Susan St. James on commentary here is that, you know, she just doesn't know what she's doing or what she's watching, so she doesn't know how to announce it. But again, that's not her fault. She's not a fucking announcer.
Oh, that was a left and a right. Oh
Yeah.
shit.
This is where Piper gets mad, I think. Yeah, so here we go. So this is how you can tell it was maybe a work then too. So Piper just kind of really thoroughly dominated the previous round. Now Mr. T's dominating this round. Okay, and I think Joe Frazier just gave up the plot because you saw him starting to come up to the ring there because I think it happens in this round or does it happen in the
Fourth
next
round.
one? Oh, fourth round. Okay. I say I think maybe Joe Frazier was maybe missing a cue there, so to speak. And yeah, just like I said, the way Piper knocked Mr. T down in the previous round, the way Mr. T just knocked him down again, I think in a legit boxing match, the ref might have considered calling the match at that point. So I know Mr. T was a little flaky, and there's a story that he was going to bail on WrestleMania 1 the day of because he was afraid Piper and Orndorff were going to shoot on him. And so whoa, he did not really connect with that punch. That was Piper.
Overselling.
Yeah. And so Hogan kind of had to babysit Mr. T the day of WrestleMania to make sure he wouldn't like flake out or anything. Um, I still really think that maybe they could have had a better relationship if maybe Piper just hadn't been such a territorial asshole. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
if Piper could have just been like, "Oh, okay, we're bringing you in because you know we got to sell this show and we want to make a big deal out of it. I get what we're doing." But now he was all like, "You don't come into our business and you make us look stupid." Oh no, sir.
I mean, I get where Piper was coming from too, but at the time,
I do, but
it's
it's
kind
like
of like Vince really should have been in his ear more, but like, listen, if we want to succeed, we need to try this and see where it goes.
yeah, Piper wasn't seeing the bigger picture the way that Vince was.
Yeah.
Vince was risking a lot on the rest of the first WrestleMania. He's like, I want to make this a success. I want it, I want it to be talked about. I want there to be a mainstream thing. I think bringing in Mr. T will do that. I think it'll make, I think it'll benefit all of us in the long run. I think, you know, you'll make more money because of it. And maybe he did say all that stuff, and Piper was still just like, oh no, 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 you're not gonna tell me that, Vince. No, sir. I don't know, but
I mean, Piper's also admitted shit, and when he was older, that there's things he could have done better. A lot of them could have, you know what I mean? It's just part of the
yeah,
business and the time.
sometimes you get so caught up in your own shit, you know, you don't have that clarity in the moment and everything. So
He really whipped that chair at T too, that
oh,
stool.
I'm a little behind you, I guess, because I only just saw him with the stool. But yeah, it's like that again. Obviously, if you did that in a real boxing match, I'm pretty sure that would be an automatic like disqualification. I think that they would like the See, now this is how you also know they're working. They're just standing there throwing haymakers at each other. This is like the forearm exchanges that they do now.
Yeah. Knock the mouthpiece out and just throws it over to the
Ooh,
corner.
that was legit. I think that was too. I think at this point Piper's like, yeah, sure, go ahead, hit me. I kind of like it.
I would be surprised.
Maybe Piper also kind of finally realized, hey, he's given as good as he gets. Yep, there we go. But yeah, there was kind of a big cheer from the crowd there when he body slammed him. Look at Lou Duva. Even Joe Frazier trying to body slam Lou Duva.
I know.
Okay, one thing I will also say, I was going to mention it before when I was talking about the ring apron, but I'm reminded when I was seeing like the t-shirts on some of the guys who jumped into the ring here. I always really did like the WrestleMania 2 logo. I don't know, something about that like multi-lined 2, which again is very 80s. I don't know.
It's cool though.
I thought it kind of worked.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, right? I dig it.
Oh, Howard Finkel almost caught a stray. Okay, so Mr. T wins by a disqualification, which, whatever. What do you think? Because I already said that the Jake Roberts George Wells match at 2 stars was the highest rated match of the New York portion of the show. What do you think Meltzer rated what we just watched?
A -3.
-3? Okay. Subtract 2.
-1.
No, subtract
Oh,
2.
subtract. My bad. -5.
-5 stars.
His first and only -5 star match ever.
I don't think I've ever seen him rate another match -5 stars. You know what? Let me. Meltzer, worst ever rated match.
All right, not a Rosebond. Thank God that first set was is done.
All right, here's Gorilla at WrestleMania in Rosemont.
Look at Gene with his gold diamond pinky ring. I love it.
Hey, I'd love to be able to have a gold diamond pinky ring, but it will mean I have lots of money. Okay, so real quick here.
Classic.
This is an article from the Sportster, published last October.
Okay,
The 10 worst WWE matches of all time, according to Dave Meltzer. Damian Priest versus The Miz, WrestleMania Backlash 2001, -3 stars. That was the infamous zombie lumberjack match.
oh
Is this Kathy Lee Crosby?
yeah,
I can't remember who she is either. I'll look her up in a second. The Pat Patterson versus Gerald Briscoe evening gown match from King of the Ring 2000, -3 stars. To me, that should have been probably worse than -3 stars.
probably.
Finley and Hornswoggle versus the Boogeyman and Little Boogeyman from No Way Out 2007, -3 stars.
I forgot about that match.
Tyson Tomko versus Stevie Richards from Unforgiven 2004, -3 stars. That's where Stevie Richards came out dressed as a woman. It
Oh,
wasn't even a really a match. I remember watching that at AJ's house. Al Snow versus the Big Boss Man, Kennel from Hell, Unforgiven 1999, -3 stars. Jake Roberts versus Andre the Giant with special referee Big John Studd, WrestleMania 5, -3 stars. The Fabulous. I was trying to think of a better thing to call her, and I couldn't. This ring looks small too.
Yeah, it does.
Look at Moolah going at Velvet. Oh, Velvet wrestled barefoot. Okay.
Yeah, this match is quick.
Yeah. Ultimate Warrior versus Goldust. In your house, good friends, better enemies. -3.5 stars. Um.
I don't know if
Yeah,
I
I think I
remember that
remember that
match.
match. Like it wasn't really even a match. Goldust like really did nothing, and like Mantar was there as his bodyguard. It was fucking weird. The Bushwhackers versus the Fabulous Rougeau Brothers, WrestleMania 5, -4 stars. So that's two matches from WrestleMania 5.
Jeez.
Junkyard Dog versus Moondog Spot, the Wrestling Classic, -5 stars. That match went 45 seconds. Okay. Oh, wait, her foot was on the rope.
Yep.
And then Mr. T versus Roddy Piper, WrestleMania 2, -5 stars. So he's given two matches -5 stars. The one we just watched, the boxing match, and JYD Moondog Spot at the Wrestling Classic. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
All right, so that match went a whole whopping minute 25 with Moolah maintaining. I thought Velvet McIntyre. Velvet McIntyre would win the WWF Women's Championship, just uh not at this time. She won it in July 3rd, 1986 in Australia, but lost it back to Moolah 6 days later.
Ah, what a joke.
Meltzer, let's see. Hold on.
Kathy Lee Crosby.
She's
Like I
been
know her and
aligned with a
I don't
football
remember.
player or two. That's a weird way of saying it, Jim or Gene. Meltzer gave that match a dud, which a little hard to rate it anything else with how quick it was. All right, anyway, real quick, to just wrap up the Mr. T Piper boxing match here.
Yes.
I understand why Meltzer gave it such a low rating. I really don't think -5 stars is warranted. But I think that was Meltzer's way of just basically saying, "Oh, I can't believe they try to put on a boxing match and then not do an actual boxing match. Like, who do they think they are? You know, we know it's a work. So they're going to do a boxing match between these guys who really hate each other. So if they had actually done a boxing match and just let these two guys go at each other, it probably would have been a lot more entertaining than this overworked. Oh, shut up! Telling
Yeah.
myself to shut up there, but um, look, don't give it a good rating. Fine, -5 stars. I don't know. I was kind of entertained enough actually watching it back, so
Yeah, yeah, so was I. So I
I
thought it
guess
was
I'm the
funny.
idiot.
It's hilarious. How this hilarious of the stupidity of the match.
Yeah. So here we go. Nikolai Volkov with his excellent manager, Classy Freddie Blassie, and you pencil neck geeks.
Yeah, that ring does look small, man.
Now I have mentioned this before, but Nikolai Volkov was not actually Russian.
Nope.
Nikolai was born in what is now Croatia, was then still Yugoslavia.
Oh God, Corporal Kirchner.
Corporal Kirchner, yeah. Now he is carrying a flag, of course, because this is a flag match. Corbin Kirchner actually had a pretty good physique. He passed away just a few years ago in 2021. He had kind of a short he had a shortish run with the company. He was suspended by WWF for testing positive for drug use in July 1987, and when his suspension was lifted, he didn't return. He went to Stampede, he went to New Japan, he showed up in the UWF. He actually worked in FMW.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I don't remember much about this guy.
No, because he wasn't in WWF for very, very long. Now here's an interesting thing. And I didn't remember this until they showed it until I was watching some of the shows in the build up to WrestleMania 17 or WrestleMania X7. He was supposed to be in the gimmick battle royal.
Oh really?
And there was even like a graphic which showed some of the people who were going to be in the gimmick battle royal, and he was on it, but then he never was actually in the match. I don't know if it doesn't say on his Wikipedia page why he was taken off the match. Um, so I don't know why. And I don't think it's important enough to look up. But I just thought it was kind of interesting that I'm talking about a guy who definitely, like you could say, is a gimmick because obviously he was not really a military person.
No, no.
Maybe they removed him because they were Sergeant Slaughter was in the gimmick battle royal, so it would be weird. But
Two military guys.
okay, all right. Actually, you know what? I just lied. He actually was an enlisted paratrooper in the 82nd Airborne Division.
Oh,
So
okay.
he actually was a military man. I apologize to Corporal Kirshner,
I didn't know that either. Okay.
wherever his spirit may be. Uh, that actually makes it more impressive then.
Yeah.
What the? He just elbowed the referee. Okay, so this was a flag match, but the flags didn't come into it,
No.
and Kirshner should have been disqualified for that elbow. Oh boy. 2 minutes, 5 seconds. Meltzer gave it a dud. And you know what? I am not disagreeing with that either because there was just nothing to that match. Like it didn't even get started really.
No, no, it
What are you
was a
supposed to
weird
what
match.
are you supposed to base that off of? But yeah, I guess he got busted open hard way, so that's kind of interesting because blood again was not something you would typically see in
No.
WWF.
Interesting.
Right, Kathy Lee Crosby is, an actress. She was a tennis player. She was co-host of the television series That's Incredible. Um, can't really remember what else.
I feel like she was in something else. I just don't know.
She was. They did a TV movie of Wonder Woman in the mid 70s where she played Wonder Woman. That was before the Linda Carter series began.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she was partners with Joe Theismann in the 80s, and then they sued each other after their relationship crumbled. I honestly feel like she's somebody who was like famous for being famous more so than for anything she actually did.
Hmm.
Maybe I'm just kind of an idiot about that. I don't know.
Ooh, it's time for the WWF versus NFL Battle Royal. A lady who has definitely indeed found the beef.
Well, this is what I was talking about with Herb. So this was Clara Peller, who was the famous "Where's the beef" lady from the Wendy's commercials, which were like a year or two old at that point, but still.
Dick Buckish, guest referee.
And Clara Peller would pass away the following year in 1987 at the age of 85. So
Jeez.
yeah, Dick Butkus is one of the referees, and one of the other referees is a guy who you would almost, since they involve NFL players in this, you'd have almost would have rather wish he had been in the Battle Royal because he's Too Tall Jones.
I know, right?
Think about it. Yeah. He's one of your guys, right?
Yeah, there's two of them in this match.
Is he in the Hall of Fame? Did he get in the Hall of Fame that year? No.
What happened?
Here's, yep, former WWF and Intercontinental Champion Pedro Morales. I think this might be Tony Atlas's only WrestleMania appearance. Jesus, he's jacked.
Look at Ted, the seedy
Yeah,
dude.
Ted Arcidi was a jacked guy too. I think he had a powerlifting background.
That would make sense. We saw it on his.
Hey, it's former Super Bowl MVP Harvey Martin. He also did stuff for GWF in their dying days. Maybe
Dan
before Big in
Spivey.
Dallas. Yeah. Golden Boy Dan Spivey. Look at that hair. Dan Spivey's a guy who should have had a better career, but injuries got the best of him.
Yeah,
Like, because when he came back to WWF in the mid 90s and did the Waylon Mercy character, which was a takeoff of Robert De Niro's Max Cady character from Cape Fear, and then like when Bray Wyatt debuted, a lot of people were drawing parallels between Bray Wyatt and Waylon Mercy, and there was a lot.
yeah.
Here's King Tonga. My God, it is so weird to see him without facial hair. That's Haku for those of people who can't figure that out.
Yeah, it is weird seeing him without facial hair.
Hulk Hogan, Hak Fatui. But yeah, but like the Waylon Mercy character, I think, was kind of ahead of its time, even though it was largely based on a movie character. I think it could have been great, but everybody has said that like Spivey's knees were shot at that point. Ernie Holmes, another of the NFL guys in this.
The Killer Bees. They were one of my favorite tag teams when I was a kid. I was always a fan of the Killer Bees.
Supposedly, Hogan was the guy who got the idea to put them together as a tag team. Because he would have known Brunzell from the AWA, because Brunzell, of course, tagged with Greg Gagne as the High Flyers. And I think he knew Brian Blair from Florida. Um, and yeah, the Killer Bees were a good tag team. It's just that they were never the top tag team. That's why they never had a run with the belts or anything. They also, of course, didn't do title changes every 2 months in the 80s. So
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Covert. Yeah, Jim Covert was one of the guys that got put into the Hall of Fame in that Centennial class a few years ago.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
I couldn't remember if that was him or if that was somebody else. Bill
yeah.
Fralick has a pretty nice physique actually for actually yeah, Bill Fralick's pretty ripped. Look at that.
Yeah, he is.
Now this is so funny to see the hearts in these like blue pants.
I know the blue outfits before they go pink and black.
Yeah, baby. Yeah. I love Neidhart. Brett wearing the sunglasses, but not like the, like the trademark sunglasses that they developed for him a few years later. I give Russ Francis credit for wearing tights.
Bruno
Any of
San
the other NFL
Martino.
players are wearing tights. And yes, this is the only pay-per-view appearance for Bruno Sammartino, since obviously he was from before the pay-per-view era. But you got to respect the shape that he was in at his age at this time.
Yeah.
And you got to admit, it was a stroke of genius to get him in this match because it was in Rosemont. This was just a couple months after the Bears won the Super Bowl, where he, of course, scored a touchdown instead of Walter Payton.
No,
Um,
I know.
but when you think about it, yeah, look at the crowd going nuts. So last but certainly not least, they might as well have said, "Hey, everybody, guess who's winning this match?
I know.
He only wins every battle royal he's in." Hey, anybody want a peanut? Hello, lady. Seeing Andre in yellow tights and yellow boots is also really weird for me because when I really
Look at
started
him
watching
going for the
wrestling,
football players first. It's
yeah,
hilarious.
when I started watching wrestling, Andre was already a heel, so I was so used to just seeing him in the black singlet and everything. So yeah, we're seeing Andre in yellow tights and yellow boots is really really weird. They had to reinforce the ring for this one. I wonder if Gorilla said that yet. He just made him what the combined weight of all these guys is. Now, who was it that just saved Perry? It was one of the other NFL players, but I can't remember which one that is. It wasn't Jimbo Covert, was it? I don't think that was because it's like that would make sense. He's his teammate and everything, but I don't think that was Jimbo
Um,
Covert.
it might have been. Yeah, it was.
Oh, it
Because
was okay.
Covert's the first one out with Tonga.
Oh yeah, okay. Oh, it was Freilich who threw him out.
Piece of shit, Freilich.
Freilich, you played for the Atlanta Falcons and they sucked in the 80s. Who was this announcing with Monsoon? I, oh, that's Big Cat Ernie Ladd. Okay, I should have known that voice. Yeah.
Oh,
He, of
yeah, yeah,
course,
yeah.
had been a football player before he was a wrestler. Bundy, Bundy, you big fat son of a bitch. You're stealing money, Bundy. Ernie Ladd apparently didn't like King Kong Bundy, so Ernie Holmes got thrown out. He's like, I took my shirt off for this. I actually do kind of wonder how much the NFL guys got paid for this.
Yeah, I wonder how much they did get paid.
Well, Ernie Holmes and Harvey Martin, I'm pretty sure both retired, but William Perry, Jim Cover, Russ Francis, Bill Fralick, I mean, they were all active. It's like, I know it wasn't during the NFL season, but it's kind of amazing that their teams let them do this. NFL teams would not let their guys get involved in a battle royal in wrestling today.
No, they wouldn't.
One of the Killer Bees just went. Look, it was Brunzell. Yeah, so Jumpin' Jim Brunzell's one of those guys who I think has become kind of underrated as time's gone on because, like I said, because the Killer Bees didn't have a tag title run and because
No, Tony Atlas.
the Fridge got rid of him. And because I think a lot of people just kind of forget how good the AWA was at times, and I think because people legitimately don't like Greg Gagne for a lot of reasons, so they kind of discount the High Flyers. But I think the High Flyers were a pretty good tag team.
Yeah, they were.
Greg Gagne is fucking people over with this action figure thing right now. I don't know how much you might know about that.
No, I haven't read anything about that.
Yeah, go look up. I think it's Powertrain or Power Town. Just like Google, I mean, you get a chance like Greg Gagne action figure controversy or something like that, and you'll find the shit.
Oh boy.
It's a bad situation, and I think a lot of people got screwed out of a lot of money. Well, there goes. I think that was Pedro Morales and Harvey Martin.
Yep. Ted Arseni's gonna be next.
No, Brian Blair didn't go to the floor. He went to the apron. Harvey Martin trying to get back in the ring. Hey, look at Too Tall Jones and is that Buckus? There goes Arcidi. Yeah, yeah. Arcidi wasn't around for very long either, but he was a guy who I'm pretty sure had an LJN action figure. 'Cause I'm pretty sure I've seen it.
There goes Spivey.
Iron Sheik went, Danny Spivey,
Oh,
it's just patooey.
there goes some more. I mean, this match doesn't even go 10 minutes.
Yeah. So Iron Sheik got rid of basically both Blair and Hillbilly Jim there. This is when Sheiky Baby could still take a bump over the top rope, which of course he notoriously couldn't do in the Gimmick Battle Royal 15 years later, which is why he won the thing.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Looks like Stud and Sheiky Baby are going to get rid of Freilich. Yep. It was a monster. Look at the disgust on his face. San Martino and Iron Sheik going at San Martino gets rid of Sheiky Baby. Yeah, you would think that would have been a natural feud if their careers had lined up a little bit more, Sheik and San Martino.
Yeah.
So we're down to about seven guys now, I think, and two of them are still the football players, which is kind of interesting. Oh, John Studd gets rid of Bruno. Yeah, I mentioned this was the only pay-per-view appearance for Bruno. I think it may have also been the same for Pedro Morales. I'm not sure if he ever, I don't think he was ever on another WWF pay-per-view, at least not that I can remember. So Perry does like a flying run at Hart and Neidhart. They both go over the top rope, but don't go out. Fridge is falling out of his costume, for Christ's sake.
I know.
Oh, hey, that was a fun little spot between him and Stud, though. I mean, one of the only guys in the ring who can make Fridge look small, so.
I've always hated the
I
fact.
forgot he does that. Like, how stupid was Stud?
I've always hated that though. When you're in a battle royal, Royal Rumble, whatever, you're eliminated. You shouldn't have the ability to eliminate somebody that's still in the match.
Yeah, it's kind of always annoyed me too, but I love Big Cat Ernie Ladd going, "Oh, that's the oldest trick in the book. What is Stud thinking?" So now we're down to Andre, the Hart Foundation, and Russ Francis. What a final four. Oh, Hearts with a nice double out and into the Andre tied up in the rope spot, which he always loved to do. Francis realizes very quickly, oh, I need to run away.
I know Francis had like an amateur background in wrestling.
I mean, he looks like he knows how to move around in the ring, so I'll give him that. And like I said, hey, he was courageous enough to wear tights, even though he's wearing the tank top. But there he goes. Hearts got rid of him. So now I got the Hearts and Andre, and it's like, gee, I wonder who's going to win. Now, obviously, you would think, well, the Hart Foundation, of course, they're just going to tag team on Andre. And it's like, yeah, but what if they get Andre out? You know, they're not going to fight each other. So now, as Stu Hart would say, hey, look at that big rhino in there, big rhino.
Oh God, that was a boot shot.
Holy shit! Yeah, I'm a few seconds behind you here, but yeah, Brett looked like he got decapitated. Oh,
Oh
and
my
Andre grabs
God.
Anvil by the beard, which legit. Double knocker knocker. I if Gorilla Monsoon didn't coin that term, double knocker
Oh my
knocker.
God. Just wait. Wait till the oversell by Nineheart.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That's worse than the one I saw Snuka do in the 1990 Royal Rumble when Hogan eliminated him.
Oh my
Oh, oh
God.
my God, he's holding him with one hand.
The oversell by Nineheart was fucking hilarious.
Yeah. Oh boy. Okay, so quick little postscript on Andre naturally winning the Battle Royal. An original plan for this show, and in retrospect, it's like, oh my God, what a disappointing thing that they didn't do this. They were going to do a Ricky Steamboat Bret Hart match,
And they did this instead.
and Steamboat works against Hercules in the LA show. Think
Interesting.
about how good a Ricky Steamboat Bret Hart match in 1986 would have been.
Yep.
They did do house shows after this, apparently, but it's like, man, you could have done a WrestleMania.
Hmm. Where'd my dog go? Oh, he's in his cage. Oh,
Now
we're
we're
gonna
going back
interview
to,
Piper.
oh, I was going to say, why are we going back to Vince and Susan?
Come for a picnic tea. I would have packed a lunch. I come to fight, and just as I'm getting into the fighting, you have all you and Perry obviously come from the same mold because you both cheat. I saw Perry pulling John Studd over like that. I saw him rubbing his head, rubbing them gnarly bristles inside my eyes, but nothing he could do could hurt me. There's nothing I said. If he can knock me out, I will retire. I have fight after fight after fight left, and I don't have to cut my
He
hair.
goes, I don't have to dye myself black.
Well, yeah, it was the same thing that he said at the beginning.
He goes, isn't this the handsomest thing you've ever seen?
Obviously, you felt at this juncture that you were losing the matchup, you were losing the fight. Look at this. A blatant shove of the referee. I wasn't losing nothing. He kept sticking his nose in my business. I come to fight T. I end up having to fight their entire Nassau. He didn't look too sharp there, did he? I like the way he drops on his head. It's too bad I dropped him on his head because dropping him on his head really doesn't do a lot of damage. That's why Duva had me going mostly for the body. Did you notice the way I was stepping on his tongue as I was boxing him, causing me to slip all over the place? Did you notice the way that there was nothing left to see how they were holding him and carrying him out and the big tear in his eye? Yeah, us about Ronnie Piper, let's get back to Chicago.
Okay, then he's going to talk to Ted Arcidi now. Why? Oh, it's Jim Covert. Jeez, I'm an idiot.
I got cheated because I thought Tonga, as I usually can throw out anybody, and here comes Frank.
Really?
Yeah, he cheated. All right, thank you very much, Kid Bolton. Come on, if you would please. Iron Sheik, you're gonna taste some.
Mean Gene, Gene Mean.
So I've tried to look to see exactly when the movie Body Slam was filmed, and unfortunately, I'm not finding anything for that. Wikipedia doesn't have filming dates listed, and even IMDb doesn't have filming dates listed for it because it lists April 7th, 1986 as the only thing on there for filming date. And that's obviously not true because April 7th, 1986 is the day of WrestleMania 2. Whoever the fuck put that on IMDb, I wish somebody would take that down.
Yeah, it's not right.
There's no way that's right.
Well, since we have this WrestleMania that we're actually watching, and with the celebrities and the NFL players and such, um, athletes wise, what are your thoughts on Dennis Rodman?
I mean, he was a big part of a lot of what they did with the NWO, for better or for worse. What I find really most interesting about it again is that I don't think he's ever actually done anything for WWE.
No,
So it's very weird that they're inducting somebody as a celebrity inductee who didn't do
that was
anything for
mostly
WWE
WCW.
itself, you know? Now, and like somebody pointed out, well, they inducted all these other guys, like, like the Japanese guys, like Liger and Muda and Fujinami. And I said, yeah. And then I said they also elected a lot of like territory guys, inducted a lot of territory guys who worked rarely, if at all, for WWF too. But that's a little different. I mean, because those guys were still wrestlers, and so they had a much like broader career, whatever. Um, so I just find it a little interesting that they're doing it with a celebrity. I mean, I don't really have a problem with it. It's just like, so your Hall of Fame class so far is AJ, Stephanie, Demolition, and Dennis Rodman. It's like, if you can get one other person on there who's a non-celebrity, at least I would hope so.
I,
I'd still
I'm
love for them to
expecting at
induct
least,
Rick. I still love for them to induct Rick Martel, but it still seems like Rick Martel doesn't want any part of it. So which is
yeah,
unfortunate.
it seems like there should be at least one more Hall of Famer inducted. I don't
Yeah,
have
like
an
I
issue
think
with
five
Rodman.
inductees is a good number.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have an issue with Rodman being inducted. I mean, it's interesting that, like you've mentioned, there's been territory people had that have been inducted as well. And it's kind of one of those things where they've owned the rights for a lot of this shit, and
Yeah,
they own WCW, and Rodman was a big celebrity part at the end there for a certain period of NWO and all that shit. So it kind of makes sense. But then it's kind of one of those things where you got to look at let's look at all the other celebrities that have been a big part of WWE. Which one of those deserves to be inducted into the Hall of Fame? You know what I mean?
yeah. I mean, and it's still mystifying as to why Cyndi Lauper's never been inducted as a celebrity. I mean, she was such a big
Yeah,
part of WrestleMania 1. So this is so surreal. Blonde haired, salmon colored suit wearing Ozzy Osbourne.
I know. Ozzy has not gone blonde very often in his life,
Yeah.
but he did that at that time period because that was the thing.
Yep. He's got eyeliner on too, which is also kind of funny. Captain Lou. Look at the talent you got here in the ring. You got the Bulldogs, are one of the best tag teams ever.
Yep.
Captain Lou's one of the great all-time wrestling personalities. Ozzy Osbourne. The Dream Team was a really good tag team, no matter what people want to say about Brutus. And you got Luscious Johnny Valiant, who of course was a great wrestler in his day, with his kayfabe brother Jimmy. Literally everybody that's in the ring there right now, as far as the performers and the cornermen or what have you, they're all in the WWE Hall of Fame except for the Dynamite Kid,
Yeah.
who absolutely should be in terms of his wrestling is in ring work and absolutely should not be for literally everything else about the guy.
Yeah, outside. Yeah.
Well, not
Unfortunately.
yeah, yeah. He was a racist. He was just an all-around piece of shit. He was a bully, just he's the he's the only guy that I think ever made people like Jacques Rougeau. Because for whatever reason, Jacques Rougeau was always kind of a heat magnet. I think that's because his father was a promoter and everything. So
Yeah.
he's like, oh, he's the promoter's kid kind of thing. But the very famous backstage incident between the Bulldogs and the Rougeaus, where Jacques knocked Dynamite out with a roll of quarters in his fist. I think a lot of people took Jacques' side in that, ultimately realizing that Dynamite got what he deserved. So,
Very true. This will be the second longest match of the whole show.
which really shouldn't be too surprising because these are, again, I'm kind of a defender of Beefcake. I don't I've never really understood all the Beefcake hate. Just guilt by association because he was Hogan's friend. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. But these are four guys who could work pretty well.
Brutus was always able to work. It was never an issue with him doing that. I think it was just more like, you know, eh,
Yeah.
just his gimmick and some of the injuries he had with bad timing and things of that nature. And then, yeah, he was one of Hogan's boys. So, you know, Hogan tried to take care of him and whatnot. So it's one of those things too. But at the same point, Beefcake made some bad choices outside the ring as well,
Yeah.
like a lot of them have.
Yeah, who hasn't brought cocaine to their work locker and made people think it was anthrax?
You know,
I think we've all done that.
of course, at least once in my lifetime. Damn, he was
So
fast
I
there.
put
Holy
cocaine in
shit.
my coffee every day.
What gets me through the day, brother.
I mean, and the most obvious thing, of course, about like Valentine is the same relative height as Dynamite and Davy Boy, but Dynamite and Davy Boy are much more muscular than Valentine is. Valentine had one of those, I don't want to say like doughy or like fat kind of physiques, but he had one of those like thick physiques where
Yeah.
he wasn't really like muscular, but he was thick. You know what I mean?
Like he had muscles, he worked out, but he wasn't working out to be like defined like a lot of the rest of them, like Hercules and the
Right.
British Bulldogs. They
Well,
weren't, he wasn't eating the same type of diet to get him into that shape. He was
well,
eating the same shit he was always eating, but working out just as hard.
yeah, like his physique, and it's the physique a lot of 80s wrestlers had. He's like it's kind of half muscle, half fat, kind of, to
Yeah.
be kind of charitable about it. Um, but the other thing I was getting at then too is like you look at again their heights and the differences in their physiques. It's obvious that Bulldog and Dynamite are doing steroids, and Valentine isn't.
Yeah. I mean, that's the other, I mean, and that's another topic that, came about in the 80s too. So
Yep. And I mean, and Beefcake's probably on the gas too, but he's also taller than the other three too. So
yeah, I would say right now Beefcake's not on the gas based on how he looks.
I was gonna say it's kind of interesting how Valentine's worked this whole match so far, and because he's had the advantage a few times, and the thing about tag team wrestling, of course, is to keep the other guy in your corner, quick tags in and out, and it's like that was the first tag the heel team made in the whole match. This is like the one match on the card. I guess Vince said, "Okay, we'll give them time to work." Well, you know what else too? Because this is essentially the main event of this show. or
Yeah,
this
it's the
portion
tag
of the
team
show.
champions.
Yeah.
Even though in the final show in LA that the tag match is 42 seconds longer than the main event, but it is what it is.
See, the other thing you notice, of course, with this match with Dynamite, this is before the back injury.
Yeah.
You can tell how much smoother, how much crisper he is. It's you
You can
really
see how
wonder
he's like
it.
running the ropes and doing like the suplexes and shit
Right,
too.
right. And I don't, I'm sorry to invoke the guy's name, but you see the similarities between him and Chris Benoit.
Oh yeah, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Um, but again, it's just I'm not excusing because Dynamite was still the same asshole he always was, but it's like, man, if he hadn't gotten that fucking back injury, how much better things could have been for him, maybe.
Yeah.
Valentine always had those was always really good at those like clubbing blows, as I call them. Like he really looked like if he's like raising like that arm up to you and he's gonna hit you over the head, it's like you didn't want to get hit with that. I mean, hey, he was called the Hammer for a reason.
Yep.
Oh, I also meant to look up because he was the ring announcer here for the still trying to say Chicago for the Rosemont portion of the show. Chet Kopic, an American radio broadcaster, television broadcaster, sports talk personality, and author based in Chicago. He did a lot of stuff with the Blackhawks. It said he passed away in 2019.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, oh, that's terrible. He died in a car accident or from injuries suffered in a car accident. Oh, Jesus. He was also attacked in a parking lot following a DePaul University basketball game in 2007.
Yeah, I remember vaguely about that. I don't know why that happened.
Just some guy attacked him. Probably just some fucking idiot. The guy was found guilty of assault after pleading not guilty and he got community service. I guess it must have been a first offense. So I'm not really sure how you get convicted of assault and don't serve any jail time.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't see a tag made there, Gorilla? Well, you got to open your eyes.
Also, when he comes in horseshoes and hand grenades. That old saying.
Oh, that's awesome. I just read something on the one media and politics website I go to, which I don't care for since my sister and family will be getting on an airplane in less than 2 weeks. But we're not going to talk about that right now.
Okay. Ozzy Osbourne shaking at ringside. Why? What happened? What did I miss?
That's probably the drugs.
Dropped him right on his cranium.
Oh, I'm not sure if I've ever seen somebody do a pile driver like that. Interesting, interesting. Okay, by the way, the Battle Royal, one of the sites says Meltzer gave it 2 stars, and the other one says he gave it 4 stars. But I have a feeling that there was an error in the one website because of like the way that they listed the matches and other stuff. Because they
I
said the Battle Royal was 4 stars.
I highly doubt that shit was 4 stars.
No, I'm pretty sure the 2 star one is the accurate one.
Yeah.
But this again is where I was saying that there was like a deviation in these sites. So
I would be more inclined to give it 2 stars for a battle royal.
yeah. Valentine's arms are flailing. Oh, he's waving Beefcake. Was Valentine giving away the spot? He was kind of like waving his arms as if he was waving Beefcake in, but Beefcake didn't go in until
It's
like,
twice he did that.
yeah. All right, now we're getting a little bit faster paced here.
Valentine's taking a lot of beating in this match.
Yeah, it's like I wonder if Beefcake was dinged up because Valentine's been working a lot of this match, and it's not just that, but Valentine's been taking it. Yeah, he's been taking a beating. Look at that, Davy Boy didn't even like have his hands on him there for a minute. We're just balancing him on his shoulder. That's incredible. But yeah, it's like Beefcake isn't like even like running into like interference shit. So this was kind of which is like so typical of a heel tag team. So this is a little weird almost. I've never seen aerial work like this, says Kathy Lee Crosby. Well, this is your first wrestling match, so you know. Ooh. See, the problem with that spot is that it's a little too obvious that Davy Boy, was like it wasn't it was too obvious that that's what he was trying to do to run into the post. Like I've always liked it better when the guys make it look like, like oh, like they stumbled or like that's where they were that like that's where he was trying to throw him.
He dropped him just like a bad habit. All right there.
Danny Boy tried forward to back. I did not see that. I have not seen that before from this Beefcake. That is quite a move indeed. This Beefcake is coming off a long way here.
I'm about to say Beefcake's going to start strutting and cutting. I remembered he's not the barber yet.
Oh yeah, no, not yet.
You wouldn't be the barber for another year. Podcasting. Sorry, my sister just got home. She was calling up to me and getting mad that I wasn't replying.
Oof. Oh. Oh, what a spot.
Oh, geez. Yeah, their heads hit pretty bad. And that's what I wow. Yeah, you can tell how long it's been since I've watched this show. I did not remember that's got to be one of the weirdest goddamn endings to a title match you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Because that's a title change. Like that's how you change the titles? Like it wasn't like a big move, it wasn't like a big sequence. It was, just jeez.
They head butted. He goes flying backwards. Interesting silver outfit she's wearing too, I might add.
Captain Louis Albano.
Dynamite took a dive backwards from that headbutt.
Yeah, I mean, Captain Lou's vibrating as he's talking.
Yeah, I know.
Ozzy's chewing gum. So this is hysterical. This
They're
is
holding the
hysterical.
belts while the guys are outside.
Yeah, me, Gene, and Kathy Lee Crosby in the ring with Captain Lou and Ozzy Osbourne who were cutting a promo, and they're holding and Captain Lou's holding the belts. Meanwhile, Davey Boy and Dynamite are outside, like, what are our roles in this? We're the guys who won the match, right?
America, we became the World Tag Team Champions. We would stay in the United States of America. This is where we're going to stay.
Yeah, Dynamite's a little out of it.
Well, I mean that. I mean, they definitely clonked heads and everything. So I mean,
Yeah, here's the replay of it.
yeah, I'm still like I'm thinking like 5 seconds behind you, but that's all right. Usually I'm the one ahead. See, now the only problem with that spot is like he climbs up to the top to like to the second rope on the outside there, and he just kind of stays there. Yeah, like he
Yeah.
wasn't like making a move as if he was like gonna like climb up all the way to the top and like jump off or something like that. So, all right, so here's a place where I'm definitely gonna have a disagreement with Meltzer. Meltzer gave that match, according to both sites that have the track and everything. He gave that match 4 stars. I don't think that was a 4 star match. I think that was a 3 star match.
I only gave it 3.5.
So because again, it was worked a little strange to me in some respects, like and I almost feel like it should have been better. So maybe I'm being a little too harsh, but that's what I feel.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Also, just a side note, Kathy Lee Crosby, her outfit reminds me of the Cannonball Run. The two blondes in the Cannonball Run who drive the Lamborghini. Yep, she was giving me Cannonball Run vibes there. And I'm not complaining, just saying. I just wanted to throw that out there.
This Dom DeLuise movie told us that yes, cannonballs can run. Bert, you may want to answer this one. That was from one of the SNL Celebrity Jeopardies. Okay. Vince saying, can Hulk climb the top of the mountain again? Dude, he's the champion. He's at the top of the mountain.
Yeah, I know. No, here we go. Lord
Somewhere
Alfred
over
Hayes and
LA. Whoa.
Elvira.
That's a very hello. Um, so this just kind of shows how they didn't really have like a lot of like backup announcers because I mean they're bringing in Susan St. James to call the New York show with Vince. They got Gorilla and Mean Gene doing Rosemont, and you got Ventura and Lord Alfred Hayes doing L.A. Wouldn't it have been made more sense maybe to keep Gorilla and Ventura together and have Gene and Lord Alfred Hayes together? Because
Yeah,
Gene could have done play by play, but you match him up with Gorilla and Gene's not going to be doing play by play,
yeah,
you know? Because Lord Alfred Hayes wasn't a play by play guy either. He was like more of an analyst when he was a. Okay, I didn't remember that Hercules wore an outfit like that. That made him look more like Conan the Barbarian.
I always hated that Hernandez part of that.
It was always funny too because his real last name was Fernandez. And I think he was Hercules Hernandez when he worked in like Mid South and everything. So I think that's why they. So it's actually interesting that they kept all of that actually when he came to WWF. And oh yeah, there's Lee Marshall doing the ring announcements.
Yep.
Lee Marshall, of course, he worked in AWA and he worked in WCW, and he was the voice of Tony the Tiger. He passed away a number of years ago now.
It's also very concerning that I see a lot of empty seats.
I was That's what I was trying to say before they cut to like Ventura and Lord Alfred and Elvira's boobs. Yeah, it does look very empty.
Like, why is there like, hey, LA people, did you not know the show was starting soon?
Well, this is the thing. I mean, LA was never really a wrestling market. Like there was wrestling based out of LA, but it was never really ever considered a hotbed.
No.
And when they were supposed to do Hogan Flair at WrestleMania 8, one of the reasons why they ultimately didn't was because like Vince got cold feet because of some like lackluster house show feedback from matches that they did. But one of the ones that they did was like in LA, and they were like, well, the crowd was sitting on its hands. And it's like, why would you do a Hogan Flair match in LA? Out of all the markets you could have done that to like test it on house shows, why didn't you do it in the Carolinas? Why didn't you do it in New York? Why didn't you do it in one of the old AWA territories where Hogan was popular? Why didn't you do it in Texas? It was like there's like so many places you could have done it where it would have worked.
Yeah. Nope. Absolutely.
Yeah. Hercules is one guy who I think a lot of people underrate. Like I actually think he was better than a lot of guys give him credit for. Like I remember like on the Ultimate Warrior DVD because they talk about his match with between Warrior and Hercules at WrestleMania 4 because it was Warrior's first WrestleMania. I remember Ted DiBiase referring to Hercules as really just a body. And I'm like, he could work a little bit better than that. I mean, I said I think the reason they had him matched up against Warrior was because he could at least give a competent match and because he looked like somebody who could match up with Warrior physique wise.
Yeah.
So I think Hercules the guy has been a little underrated because he passed away so long ago. I was like in the early 2000s, I want to say that it's like he's kind of become forgotten in a lot of ways. This is interesting though. I made mention in the WrestleMania 1 rewatch that Steamboat was wearing tights, and now here he is wearing the pants that I think most people are much more typical used to seeing him wear.
That could be very damaging indeed. You know what I noticed? I'm just looking ahead to WrestleMania 3. The tag titles were not up for grabs that pay-per-view.
Well, that was because of Dynamite's back injury.
Hmm.
He was still so messed up because the back injury had only been a couple months before that I guess Vince didn't think they could do a straight tag match between the Bulldogs and the Hart Foundation, so that's why they made it the six-man, where it was the Bulldogs and Tito Santana against the Hart Foundation and Dangerous Danny Davis,
Yeah.
Triple D as I call him, and nobody else, as in nobody else calls him Triple D. Not as in I don't call anybody else Triple D. There's a few people I call Triple D, and I think you know what people those are.
Very true.
Actually, I should ask you this then. Is Triple D just an E?
Possibly.
Well, I gotta know these things.
Maybe. Just checking scores. Purdue's beating Miami in 1912. All right, let's get
I was
back
gonna
to
say that's the only game going on right now, and it's can't be too far into it.
No, it's not.
I don't really know what Elvira was just saying there.
We have a championship match inside a steel cage. It's never been done before.
Well, I'll give a fun little tidbit when we get to that match. It's something that I don't think you necessarily think about until you think about it. So,
Gotcha. Hercules. Ooh, what a chop. Ooh, another one. These guys are really working. Look at those. Oh my God. The referee in his half-ass fucking counts. Oh God. It's interesting watching this old stuff and just see how far along we've come in the 40 plus fucking years of professional wrestling, which is still weird to say. Hercules is going to the top rope. Some of the seats have filled up, but still a lot of empty seats.
now it makes me wonder what time this was, like LA time by this point. I mean, we're like 2 hours into the show. I don't know what time the show started. Monday night, you would almost have to think it was 8 o'clock, which would make this maybe like 7 o'clock LA time by then. Steamboat with the crossbody for the win.
So odd with the win like that, the crossbody.
Well, that was kind of always his signature move, at least for a while there.
Don't
What's
you
also
start?
interesting is like there's like no padding around the ring,
Nope.
which I mean wasn't really atypical in the territory days, but like it was pretty much always a standard of the WWF. Um, and again, yeah, we talk about how like empty it looks and everything, especially on the camera side there. And just to think, only 5 years later, this is where they would run WrestleMania 7.
Yeah.
The building looked a hell of a lot different that night. Oh boy, here we go. Okay, both sites agreed. I don't think we have any other discrepancies in the star ratings from here on out. Steamboat Hercules, Meltzer said 3 stars,
Hmm.
which seems fair.
Yeah. Adrian Adonis versus Uncle Elmer. You saved for the third act of the show.
This bout has been scheduled for one fall.
Well, you know what it was? It was it had to be on this show because Jimmy Hart also managed the Funks. So this was so Jimmy Hart could manage both of his people. I don't know if he managing the Hart Foundation at this point? I guess he must have been, but since the Hart Foundation were in a battle royal, I guess he doesn't really need to be there for them for that.
Yeah, he didn't need to be there for that. I don't think he was managing them though yet.
I'm not sure.
He was managing the Funks though.
Yeah, that's what I just said. So he's able to be like on the on this show and everything. Well, because like with Bobby Heenan, he's obviously here for King Kong Bundy, but like obviously then he wasn't in Chicago for Big John Studd. Which again, he was just in a battle royal, so good old Plowboy Frazier. No offense to Uncle Elmer, but he was the kind of guy who obviously could only have been a wrestler in a certain era.
Very true.
And this was pretty much the end of it.
He's just a big dude, nothing else.
Yeah. Well, he was just kind of making fun of Adonis's mannerisms. It was kind of funny though.
Yeah, it is.
The thing with the Adrian Adonis that I've never really been able to quite understand is the way that he just got so fat so fast. Like he just like really let himself go. Like all of a sudden he put on like 50, 60 pounds like really fast
Yeah, yeah, he
during this
did.
era. I'm not one of these people who thinks that the gimmick was offensive or anything. I think that this gimmick could have worked if it had gone on for longer, frankly.
Yeah, it was an interesting gimmick for sure.
It's also kind of funny that this guy was doing this gimmick because his gimmick prior to this had really been he was like a biker. You know, like when he was tag teaming with Ventura in the AWA, he always wore like the leather and shit, you know.
Yeah. Such a contrast of change.
Yeah. He was great at that turnbuckle spot too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was one of those guys who would definitely bounce in the ring, you know. Falls out of the ring like that. I don't know if I would want to fall backwards through the ropes out of the ring when there's no padding down there, you know. He just ripped the ring apron off. Oh my God, what is he thinking? Now we're not going to know what show we're watching.
What a seller too. God.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, he's all over the place. This makes Ric Flair's flops look realistic by comparison. That floor doesn't look like concrete,
I
but it
don't know
probably
what it
is.
looks like.
Looks like linoleum.
Yeah, it kind of does, doesn't it?
Oh, I stopped giving the match times. Yeah, the boxing match was officially 13 minutes and 14 seconds. Moolah over McIntyre, minute 25. Corporal Kirchner over Nikolai Volkov, 2:05. The Battle Royal, 9:13. The tag title match, 13:03. The Steamboat Hercules match, 7:27. Ooh, that hurts.
He used his belly to push him backwards, get caught in the ropes.
Well, why
Oh,
not?
he has a garter on his fucking left knee. That's hilarious.
Well, yeah.
Oh, the leg drop didn't work for you there, buddy. I've never seen so much cellulite in one place at one time. Whatever. Oh, and that's all she wrote.
Yeah. So that match goes 3 minutes and 1 second, 1 star, which again feels pretty fair.
1 star for the match, 5 stars for selling. Das gets 5 stars for me for selling.
5 stars for the prancing. Yeah.
Come on, Adrian. Come on, Adrian. Come on.
A man that size got to suffer so much pain. You said just
I love getting spam text messages like this. Pennsylvania Department of Motor Vehicles notice. According to Pennsylvania Department of Motor Vehicles records, your unpaid traffic ticket must be paid by March 23rd, 2026.
Tomorrow?
So it's kind of like if you cannot open the link, please reply yes and close and reopen the email or copy the link and open in a browser. This spam stuff makes me
I was gonna
laugh.
say, I'm pretty sure that's bullshit,
No, it's definitely is. Like I legit know, but it's just funny.
Yeah.
It's just funny, and like I can't talk. Like people fall for stuff like that, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know. Now this is interesting. So Lord Alfred Hayes is there at ringside calling the match, and they cut to a obviously pre-taped promo with him and Hogan because obviously he couldn't teleport. Um, but what's also funny about this is that they already did a promo with Hogan, and here's another one.
Yep, one with Jesse, one with Alfred, and he calls him Uncle Alfred Hayes too, out of the way.
Meanwhile, Lord Alfred Hayes just stands there, like kind of stiff as a board, saying, "Okay, Hulk, you just say your bit. I'm just gonna stand here and look smart in this tuxedo. It's a white tuxedo with a red bow tie. Come on, I look stylish." Slap those feelings around, take away his pride. Well, those are fighting words, Hulk. You're going to leave him an emotional wreck who's going to need therapy if you do that. And here we go. Oh, Terry Funk doing the crazy act, of course, trying to intimidate Lee Marshall. Now, this is, of course, Terry Funk and Haas Funk. We don't know who Dory Funk Jr. is.
all here. South Jimmy Hart.
Yeah, I gotta admit, it really annoys the hell out of me that they called him Haas Funk.
It's an interesting name.
Well, you know what it is? It's that Vince watched Bonanza.
Yeah, I know.
But again, he's a former NWA champion. You didn't change Terry Funk's name, so why did you
Change his.
yeah. Dory Funk Jr., of course, still going strong, 85 years old now.
Good for him.
Credit to him, of course. Here we go with a bit of an oddball pairing, but two of the most popular guys in the company in JYD and Tito.
Yes, indeed.
Just a real quick thing about the Funks. I can't remember like where they said it was or what the context was, but Terry and Dory Funk Jr. were working for somebody else's territory, and like I guess they had a pretty good show that night. It was a pretty good crowd. They're in the locker room, and this is Cornette, I think, is telling the story, and somebody would have obviously told it to him, because it might happen in Detroit, in the Sheik's territory. Uh, Terry says to Dory, he's like, "Well, Junior, looks like we might get a pretty good take out of tonight." That Terry Funk voice and everything. And then somebody comes bursting into the locker room. "Somebody robbed the box office." And the joke about it is that there's almost no chance the box office was robbed and it was the promoter, if it was the Sheik or whoever was pocketed the box office to not pay the wrestlers. So,
Yeah.
the kind of shit that promoters always did in those days.
Real fucking shitty too, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, so people, some people lament the death of the territories, and obviously there was a lot of good thing about the territories, just more places to work, and more guys who could get experience and everything. But shit like that is a definitely a positive as to why the territories failed.
Oh yeah.
So your fucking shit promoters, didn't fuck over guys like that.
Oh, of course. I like Jimmy. I like Jimmy's jacket.
Yeah. I mean, it is most of the guys that I would say Jimmy Hart managed, you could see like why he was their manager. It's very weird seeing him managing the Funks.
Yeah.
That feels like a very odd fit. Because when you really think about it, the Funks didn't need a manager. I mean, Terry Funk doesn't need a manager. He
No.
did frequently work with one, but he's not somebody who really needed one because obviously Terry Funk could talk.
Hmm.
And of course, Terry Funk got into acting, and he had the role in like Roadhouse and some other things. But I mean, Terry Funk, especially in this era, I mean, he just looked like the guy who was like the big outlaw in like the Western.
What a clothesline indeed.
There's Tito throwing the drop kicks.
As only Cheeto does.
This was 1986, so Terry was just about 42 years old at the time. Dory was 45. Um, Tito would have been just about 33,
Oh wow.
and JYD was 33. So yes, these guys are a little bit more veteran. Geez, this is the sad thing. I'm trying to think of how many guys who worked the LA portion of this show are still alive 40 years later.
So
Steamboat, yes. Hercules, no. Adrian Adonis, no. Uncle Elmer, no. Jimmy Hart, yes. Terry Funk, no. Dory Funk, yes. Tito, yes. JYD, no. And then the three guys in the main event, Hogan, Bundy, and Heenan, are all dead. So yeah, it's kind of sad.
wow.
I mean, it is 40 years now though too. So
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely so.
there are a lot
Just
of
the
people.
reality of it that just kind of hits you sometimes about
Yeah, I
where
know.
it's
It's just
at, you
like
know?
I'm trying to think how many people from my life who were alive 40 years ago aren't alive today. Just there's several. So
Yeah. Unfortunately, it happens.
yeah. I mean, Jesus, 40 years ago, 40 years ago, I was in fucking kindergarten. It was just, or no, exactly 40 years ago, I would have still been in preschool. I wouldn't have started kindergarten until the fall of 1986.
Well,
Hmm.
this year is and it kind of hit me that two things. Space Jam came out 30 years ago. It's also the 30th anniversary or 30th birthday of Pokemon being created. And I graduated high school 30 years ago. June 5th, 2000 to June 5th, 1996.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Currently in almost done with my senior year in high school right now.
well, same with my older sister. She graduated in 96. Trying to think of some other things so 1996, so that's 30 years since the Yankees won their first World Series in my lifetime. That was a big deal, for me at the time because the Yankees hadn't won in my life. Um, think about it, in a couple months we're going to hit the 30th anniversary of the NWO. You
Oh
know,
yeah, that was the summer of 96.
yeah. Well, when we get to that day in May, whichever date it was, I don't remember off the top of my head, like the day when Scott Hall sauntered onto camera on Nitro. I still m- I hadn't been watching a lot of WWF in like 1995, 1996. If I
I was
watched
still
anything,
back and forth. Like I wasn't watching one more than the other at that
yeah,
time.
if I was watching anything, I was watching WCW because that's where Hogan was and everything. But I remember watching that Nitro live that night and seeing all of a sudden watching him just walk down and watching the camera catch him. And I seriously went like, because I didn't have internet access yet. I didn't know about dirt sheets and shit like that. So I was like watching in one room and I shout out to my dad who's in the other room and I go like, Dad. It's like, what? I'm like, Razor Ramon's on Nitro. He's like, what?
Yeah.
And I was like, remember that there was a match going on at the time between Mike Enos, who had been one of the Beverly Brothers, and Steve Dahl, who had been one of the guys in that short-lived tag team Well Done. I think he was called Steven Dunn in WWF.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's a match going on between those two guys, and he just walks in and just takes the mic, walks in, and then the match just stops, and like Shivani and Zabisco on commentary sold it so well. It's like
It's one of the
what the hell just
craziest
happened?
it's one of the craziest things we've seen on a live wrestling show, something like that.
It
Be-
legitimately felt like you didn't know what the hell was going on, and
No,
like,
you
is
didn't know
WWF really invading?
because like you've just seen him on WWE programming like
It,
just
it, it
recently, I think. So it was like,
he had been off TV for a few weeks because he lost a match to Vader at the In Your House show at the end of April, I want to say, and I'm pretty sure that was his last appearance for WWF.
yeah,
I'm pretty sure that was the last appearance on for WWE for both him and Nash, because Nash wrestled the title match against Michaels that night, which was pretty well received. But
yeah.
I'm pretty sure Nash didn't appear on TV again after that either. But he didn't show up on Nitro for another 2 weeks. But yeah, but it was only like a few weeks, you know. And that was just it. He literally went from being on one to being on the other so quickly. It's like, other than maybe like the Radicals, it's very hard to think of guys who so quickly went from one company to the other.
Yeah.
Like Jericho had been off TV for a little while before he debuted on WWF. Same with the Big Show. Um, oh no, you know who set the record? Jarrett in '99. He wrestled the pay-per-view, dropped the Intercontinental title to China the one night, and the next night he was on Nitro.
What about the Luger thing?
I don't. Well, that wasn't. Well,
See, the Luger thing was challenging
maybe,
because
maybe
because
because yeah, I think
with
they said there was still like a match or two of his that hadn't aired on the syndicated shows yet when he showed up on Nitro.
yeah,
So technically, he was on Nitro before his last WWF match aired.
crazy, right?
I mean, what a fucking time to be a wrestling fan back then, though. Jesus Christ! And because he had ECW too, we'll never get those days back. I mean, and that's not to diss on like AEW or TNA or ROH or CMLL or anything like that, but it just wasn't the same. It's not the same as it was then.
That time frame just hit different.
It did. I mean, think about how much things are different though. 30 years ago, you didn't. Yes, we had cable TV 30 years ago. We didn't have streaming, and
Yeah,
you didn't have cable where you had like 500 channels. You had maybe at most 100. I mean, so
yeah.
you didn't have as much choice. So that's why people say, "Oh, wrestling doesn't get the viewership that it used to." Well, yeah, nothing does
No, no, no.
because the audience is so much more fractured because there's so much more stuff to watch.
No, the only thing that's like truly gets maybe the same type of views
I
as
remember back
sport
in the
is.
day, I was watching like, okay, how many viewers did Seinfeld get this week? How many viewers did Friends get this week?
Yeah,
And they consistently got 25 to 30 million. No TV show gets 25 to 30 million viewers anymore.
no. And it's one of those things too where it's like the only events that really get huge numbers for like still for viewership is specific sporting events like NBA Finals, Stanley Cup, World
Yeah.
Series, Super Bowl, March Madness that's
Yeah,
going on
like
now.
the Oscars still gets a lot of viewers, even though I think they said this year's was like the lowest it had been in like 3 or 4 years. I also, of course, say, well, that doesn't matter much anymore because the Oscars are moving to YouTube in 3 years.
Yeah.
So it's not like the Oscars need to like sustain themselves through their ratings, because they're moving to a platform where that's not going to matter as much.
Yeah, just the times have changed when it comes to, TV in general.
Yep.
A lot of things, but
Yep.
the entertainment business in general too.
Yep. Oh, by the way, my overall feeling on the Oscars was, yeah,
That's
like I
kind
don't
of
have
what
any
I've heard.
problems with any of the winners. Um, they're not all who I would have picked. So like I would not have picked one battle after another for best actor. I would not or best picture. I would not have picked Michael B. Jordan for best actor. Um, I'm not sure if I would have picked Sean Penn for best supporting actor.
Gotcha.
Uh-oh, the megaphone. Boink.
This has been a decent match. It's been you know,
Yeah. It's been back and forth. It's been fast paced.
yeah.
JYD hasn't gotten totally fat yet. I don't know if Meltzer was yet calling him the junk food dog, as he typically did when he was into. Okay, see, we were talking about that Meltzer tribalism thing before. Meltzer started calling JYD the junk food dog like repeatedly, and it wasn't until he got into WWF. And I really think it was because he was mad because he had left Mid South for WWF. So that's a
Yeah.
form of tribalism.
That dude's really hurt. Maybe.
Yeah, well, he was like selling it like his knee was hurt. So even as he was going to hit JYD with the megaphone, he was limping. Meltzer gave that one 3.5 stars. I feel like that's a fair rating.
That's fair.
That's not fair to Flair.
Nothing's fair to Flair for him.
Yeah, yeah.
A travesty of justice. Did you hear him?
Yep.
Travesty of justice. Lord Alfred Hayes.
Tito Santana used to, I don't know if he still does, but he used to live in an area of New Jersey that's not all that far from where my dad's family lives.
Oh, okay.
Um, let me look up to see if maybe he still lives there.
All right, I'm gonna turn one of these lights off because I keep looking at my screen and getting that glare on my great Walter Payton picture, and I already have a headache.
Yeah,
So
because he actually yeah, he used to be a physical education teacher at Smalley Elementary School in Bound Brook, New Jersey, and taught Spanish at Eisenhower Middle School in Roxbury, New Jersey.
oh, interesting.
He used to have like a hair salon. Oh yeah, he operated his wife operated a hair salon in Succossona, Kenville, New Jersey, until 2022. Um, yeah, so that's all in Morris County. That's not all that far from like Stanhope and Netcong, which is like where my dad's family lived for a long time.
Okay. Oh no,
So
they're putting
I
the
was I always
ring,
found that I always found that kind of interesting. So
they're putting the cage together.
okay, so here's the tidbit I wanted to give you. This might
Yes.
surprise you. This might surprise you. This might surprise those of you out there who are listening to this. And at the same time, it probably maybe shouldn't. But this match we are about to watch is the one and only traditional steel cage match ever held at WrestleMania.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are in Hulk Hogan's private
Interesting.
Yeah.
where he right now
But think about it. The only other cage matches they've done at WrestleMania were the Hell in a Cell matches they did with Undertaker. The one against Big Boss Man, the one against Triple H, the one against Shane McMahon. And it kind of makes sense though, too, because you don't want to be spending that time on your big show setting up the cage. And they don't hold them. They don't hold them in arenas now where you can have the cage pre-made, and be
And
hanging
lowered.
and then just lower it because they do all these things in the huge stadiums then.
Well, how many times was that blue steel cage used? I know it was on this WrestleMania. It was used on Saturday night's main event before.
SummerSlam 1990, Warrior and Rick Rude.
Yep, yep.
Um, yeah, plenty of Saturday night main events. Like there was that one cage match between Hogan and Boss Man, the cage match between Hogan and Orndorff. It seemed to be a Saturday night main event staple, yeah.
So I
Um,
can't really, to be honest, I really don't remember it being in too many like actual pay-per-views.
Brett Owens, SummerSlam 94.
Okay.
That was a cage match. Um, you know what? Let me pull up my list real quick and just see if I can maybe figure it out here. This is kind of interesting. Morocco helping Bundy because Morocco wasn't managed by Heenan, so
Yeah.
okay. So yeah, this one we're about to watch. Yeah, SummerSlam 90 Warrior Rude, which was for the title, also. SummerSlam 94 Brett Owen. In your house 6, Bret Hart Diesel, which was also for the title. That was called Rage in the Cage. That was like the February pay-per-view. That was between Royal Rumble and WrestleMania that year.
Against King Kong Bundy. Dr. Panovich, if I can prevail upon
Mankind and Triple H had a cage match at SummerSlam 97.
man not to go ahead with this kind of event. Yes, that's correct. I have advised him not to participate in WrestleMania. What are the risks specifically, Doctor? Well, I worry about the possibility of this problem.
I'm a doctor, but I'm wearing a Hulkamania shirt.
I know, right?
Well, here's another interesting one. Breakdown in Your House, which was right after SummerSlam 98. They did a triple threat #1 contender cage match between Mankind, Ken Shamrock, and The Rock. That's an
Wow.
interesting one. The St. Valentine's Day Massacre in Your House, they did a cage match between Austin and McMahon. That's the one where Big Show made his debut and he threw Austin out of the cage, through the cage.
Yes, yes, I remember that.
At the Rebellion pay-per-view in 1999, which was one of the UK only shows, Triple H and The Rock had a title cage match. Kane and X-Pac had a cage match in Armageddon 99. Val Venus and Rikishi had a cage match for the Intercontinental title at Fully Loaded 2000. Edge and Christian and the Hardys had a tag title cage match at Unforgiven 2000. But by this point, they weren't using the blue cage anymore either. I should say that.
Okay, gotcha.
Chris Jericho and X-Pac had a cage match at No Mercy 2000. So now it's like they're overusing the cage here, it seems. SummerSlam 2001, the Brothers of Destruction against Diamond Dallas Page and Canyon for the WWF and WCW tag titles. Rebellion 2001, Intercontinental title cage match, Edge versus Christian. Survivor Series 2001, WWF and WCW tag team title unification cage match, the Hardy Boys against the Dudley Boys.
Hmm.
But then they don't use the cage again until Taboo Tuesday 2004, Randy Orton, Ric Flair. I remember that match. That was a pretty decent match, as I recall. Especially for what Flair could do in 2004, Hmm. No Way Out 2005, the barbed wire steel cage match for the title, JBL and the Big Show. You remember that one? Big Show
Semi.
thought Big Show thought he had won, but JBL he'd been chokeslammed through the ring and he crawled out from under it.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now that you mention it, yes.
Unforgiven 2005, Matt Hardy versus Edge. Makes sense for them to have had a cage match at that time.
Oh, yeah, yeah. What their feud they had?
Yeah, Taboo Tuesday 2005, Intercontinental title steel cage match, Ric Flair Triple H, because that's when Triple H had turned on Flair. Intercontinental title steel cage match at New Year's Revolution 2007, Jeff Hardy versus Johnny Nitro. That's an interesting matchup to get and put in a cage. That was probably to keep Melina out, though.
Yeah, that might have been. Yeah, they're doing a lot of extra promo work here to get this
Well, yeah, they got to get the cage set up. And this is another reason why they don't want to do cage matches at shows because it takes too long to set it up. So, One Night Stand 2007, World Heavyweight Title Cage match, Edge versus Batista. Judgment Day 2008, WWE title match, Triple H Randy Orton. Extreme Rules 2009, WWE title match, Randy Orton Batista. Extreme Rules 2010, Edge versus Chris Jericho in a steel cage, which would have made sense because that's when Edge would have come back and they had been together and then split up, obviously.
Yeah, yeah.
Money in the Bank 2010, WWE title match, Sheamus John Cena. Extreme Rules 2011, WWE title match, The Miz versus John Cena versus John Morrison. Royal Rumble 2012, World Heavyweight title match, Daniel Bryan, The Big Show, Mark Henry. No Way Out 2012, John Cena versus The Big Show. I think that was after Big Show had turned on Cena for the 17,000th time.
Yes, Elvira. I see you and your big hair and your other big things.
Extreme Rules 2013, Triple H versus Brock Lesnar. Extreme Rules 2014, John Cena versus Bray Wyatt. Extreme Rules 2015, WWE World Heavyweight title match, Seth Rollins versus Randy Orton with the RKO band and Kane as gatekeeper. That must have been during the Authority shit.
Yeah.
Extreme Rules 2017, Raw Tag Team title match, the Hardy Boys versus Cesaro and Sheamus. Extreme Rules 2018, Braun Strowman, Kevin Owens. Money in the Bank 2019, The Miz versus Shane McMahon. I don't remember that.
Yeah, I don't remember that one either.
Stomping Grounds 2019, WWE title match, Kofi Kingston, Dolph Ziggler. WrestleMania 37, Braun Strowman, Shane McMahon. Payback 2023, Becky Lynch, Trish Stratus. I
All
forgot
right,
the
the cage is up.
Yep, and the last one, the last cage. Oh no, that was the last cage match they did then. Okay, there you go. Those are all the cage matches they've done on pay-per-view, according to my list.
Wow. Some
Very
interesting ones.
interesting. Very interesting. The way that they used them for some like say like lesser matches, which is to
Yeah,
say non-world title matches.
yeah, I agree. I love the way they have the cage together with those big red clamp things.
Yep. Let's say no, that's together.
That is true.
Tommy
Tommy
Lasorda doing
Lasorda.
the guest ring announcing. How about that? Tommy Lasorda seems like the kind of guy who would have been a great wrestling manager if he hadn't been in baseball.
Yeah. Silver Spoons, Ricky Schreier. Ricky Schroeder. Who was just as tall as Tommy Lasorda as a kid.
And fuck Rick Schroeder. And I do mean that. He's an asshole now.
I can't remember the last time I heard that guy's name being brought up in anything.
Who, Rick Schroeder?
Yeah.
Well, I remember he had the comeback on NYPD Blue, and then it's like he kind of faded away again after that. Robert Conrad,
Yeah.
star of the Wild Wild West. The TV show, not the crappy Will Smith movie.
No, I know. I've seen that TV show.
Yeah. Yeah, Rick Schroeder's been arrested for suspicion of domestic violence, though no charges were ever filed. He contributed money towards the bail for Kyle Rittenhouse. He was one of these people who whined about COVID mask mandates, so fuck Rick Schroeder.
Hmm. Gotcha.
They said King Kong Bundy was from Atlantic City. Well, he was actually from New Jersey.
Atlantic City, New Jersey.
Woodbury, New Jersey. I think no, that's not really that close to Atlantic City because that's in the western part of New Jersey. Actually, yeah, I think where he's from in New Jersey is like one of the counties that kind of borders like around Philadelphia County, I think. So,
Oh, gotcha.
yeah. Bundy, yeah, big bastard. Bundy passed
Bundy, who
away.
has more hair on his body than he does on above his shoulders.
Yeah, I know. That was always the thing I found so remarkable at him. But yeah, Bundy passed away as geez, it was 7 years ago now, back in March of 2019. Have you ever seen him with hair?
I, mm, if I have, I do not remember.
Well, that's just what it was. I think I've seen pictures of him with hair when he was working in Dallas. Um, and he just looks so weird with the hair because I'm so used to seeing him without it. I've never understood why Hogan would sometimes have the end of the bandana in his mouth, but I don't know. I think it's kind of endearing in a way.
Yeah. Oh, here's Bundy with hair. Interesting.
Yeah,
He
doesn't it
has
look
nice
weird?
hair. He actually has decent hair. What the fuck?
I know, but doesn't it look weird to see him with hair?
Yeah, it does. In this picture, he's King Kong Bundy, 450 pounds from Nome, Alaska.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like he has, wow. He shaved his head when he had that hair, and it doesn't look like it's receding or anything.
No, I think somebody probably got in his ear whether it was because I don't know when he cut his hair. Like I don't know if it was when he came to WWF. But I could definitely say Vince saying, "You'll look more like a monster without any hair," which is really not wrong.
No, it's not. Just, yeah.
And he must have agreed because he kept it shaved then like the rest of his life, as far as I know.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I think so.
Well, at least this match has gotten off to a kind of a fast start. Whoa, it hits the big boot this early. Yeah, they're very much letting you know that Hogan is still the underdog in this match, even though he's the champion because he's hurt with the taped ribs, you know.
How's Bundy gonna get through that door? It's too small.
So that's the thing. On the What Culture video, where they also made mention of the fact that this was the only traditional steel cage match in WrestleMania history. They mentioned that there was also probably another reason besides the practicality of the time needed to build the cage and everything as to why they didn't do cage matches on WrestleMania. Um, WWF has always been the escape the cage mentality when it comes to their cage matches.
Yeah.
And I know Cornette's always whined about that, saying that that was like that's like a WWF thing that like no other territory ever did escape the cage. It's like the cage is to keep the guys in and anybody else out and blah blah blah. But you still have to get the pin. I've always liked the escape the cage mentality, but that's also probably because I was brought up on WWF wrestling. Like if I'd been brought up
And
on like Jim Crockett,
it's something that's different, you know what I
right?
mean?
I mean,
So
that's me. If I had been brought up on like Jim Crockett, Mid South, Georgia, Florida, world class, whatever, I probably wouldn't feel that way, you know. But
it's kind of like
so
Hell in
anyway,
a
so
Cell. That's a beast
yeah,
in itself.
yeah. So What Culture was saying, well, look, um, since they always would do the escape the cage step usually, but at the same time they always like having their championship matches end decisively with a pinfall. So those two things then don't jive.
Yeah.
So I can understand that too, if that is like, and of course we don't know that's why they did it that way, but it seems logical.
Yeah, yeah. 100%.
But then again, as Bruce Pritchard might say, I'm trying to apply logic to an illogical situation.
Oh, yes. He can't get out. You back it up now. The referee yelling at Heenan's great.
Here's an interesting tidbit about Bobby Heenan that I also got from that What Culture video. And again, thanks to What Culture for doing those videos all those years ago, because those videos are about a decade old now, I think. Heenan was in a hospital in Florida because of his neck problems. You know, he had suffered like a bad neck injury like years before this, but he never got it corrected and he kept working through it and it kept steadily getting worse because he would still bump.
Yeah.
So he was in a hospital to have something done. I don't know if it was a full surgery or not, but he was in a hospital in Florida the night before WrestleMania 2. He got a call from the office and said, "If you're not there tomorrow, you're fired."
Wow.
Think about that. They're going to fire Bobby fucking Heenan.
Because he's getting surgery.
He checked out of the hospital, hopped on a plane, got to LA, did the show, takes a couple bumps for Hogan at the end here, as we'll see, gets back on a plane, goes back to Florida, checks back into the hospital.
That's fucking insane.
Isn't it though? But like, you know, and Heenan did a few shoot interviews before like, you know, his voice got totally fucked up and before he passed away and everything. And he mentioned about how he just really hated his time in WCW, how he never really wanted to leave WWF and everything. You know what one of the reasons why he left WCW was though, or left for WCW was though, right?
No.
They offered to pay for him to have a surgery to help fix his neck problems. And apparently WWF never did that, which
Uh,
really fucked up too when you think about it.
for
I don't
what all
understand
he
why
did
Vince.
for WWF, yeah, that is
That's
fucked
what I
up.
mean. I don't understand why Vince never said, "Okay, you know you go," especially once he wasn't a full time manager anymore and was just a full time commentator. I don't understand why Vince didn't let him like say, "Okay, I'll pay for you to get this surgery done. You take a little bit of time off, you know, blah blah blah." You know, so
He's like a staple of your industry at that time.
yeah, he's a fucking legend. He's the greatest wrestling manager of all time. You know. And you know how Bobby Heenan was the greatest wrestling manager of all time?
How?
Because the second and third best wrestling managers of all time say he was the greatest wrestling manager of all time. Those guys, of course, being Cornette and Heyman.
Oh, he
Oh,
split
Bundy.
open.
Bundy. Bundy, you're bleeding all over the ring, Bundy. I couldn't tell if he bladed or not, could you?
No.
I mean, he probably did, but again, WWF didn't really do blood, so. Ooh, the back scratch, the dreaded back scratch from Hogan. I mean, why don't they stop this? Oh,
It
Elvira.
can't be stopped, Elvira. Not
Because
how it works,
Elvira.
Elvira.
Because Elvira, this is the WWF. We can't stop. We won't stop. Running Man.
Oh, there goes Hogan. Injured ribs, injured back. Oh my God, what is Hogan to do? It is crazy. They said if you're not here tomorrow, you're fired.
Yeah. Yeah, again, that was just according to that What Culture video. I don't know. I I haven't seen that listed anywhere else, but I bet I could find it. I mean, I don't think What Culture I think is reputable enough that they wouldn't put stuff on a video like that if they didn't have verification of it from somewhere. So
Yeah, it could be something they got from Heenan too, you
that's what I
know.
mean. Heenan probably said that in an interview. So or no, Heenan also did write an autobiography with that I think is out of print now. Um, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to Google it. Was Bobby Heenan going to be fired for missing WrestleMania 2?
Now Hogan's convulsing. He's getting convulsions. He's hulking up. The Hulkamaniacs are
I
waking
mean,
up the
the
Hulkster.
AI interview tells me that that's true. It says according to Bobby Heenan's own account, but then it doesn't say like where he said that. It doesn't say like if he said that in like a shoot interview or in his book.
Making me hungry.
It's making her hungry. What the fuck is she going?
I don't know. Oh no, the Hulkster's hulked up, brother.
Well, he slammed Bundy. Hey, wait until what he does next year. What the hell? Was he just doing a cock of the walk strut?
Yeah. And it's funny he's going to the top instead of just going to the fucking door.
Yeah.
Oh no, here comes Bundy. Bundy to the top rope is a dangerous position.
Heenan trying to keep Hogan in. That's not going to work.
We're not going to keep the door closed on Hogan there, Heenan. And he throws Heenan into the steel cage.
Oof. Oh, geez. Yeah, he does an atomic drop and Heenan goes spilling out through the ropes out of the cage door. And those steps don't look that nice.
All right. What was these websites scores for this match?
Star and a quarter. And I think it was better than star and a quarter. I think there was at least 2 stars.
I'd say two.
But Meltzer never liked Hogan matches, so because whenever we get to WrestleMania 3, um, he gives the spoiler alert, as if you couldn't go find this on your own. He gave the Hogan Andre match -2 stars. Now again, it is a very slow, very plotting match, but like Al Snow once said, it was all about the spectacle and the fact that that was the match everybody wanted to see. That's the match that filled that building, you know.
Yeah, and the other thing too about this too is like, I mean, for the people who know, like Andre was hurting. So you're not getting anything close to a 3-star match out of Andre at that point in time. So, you know, star rating or not, that match was a spectacle, and that's all it needed to be in regards to that period. Like when you know someone's hurt and injured and they're still in a match, you know it's not going to be great. It just needs to they need to do their parts and have the finish. That's really it. Let's pose, Hogan. Yeah. Number one. It's time for movies now.
For those of us here on the East Coast and of course in Chicago area,
Picture in picture.
you've enjoyed
Well, yeah, that's actually a little innovative for no, that's it.
Next season coming up. Nope, nope. Don't want to watch
Yep.
WrestleMania 3. Not yet. It's WrestleMania 2 was WrestleMania 2.
Yeah, so I mean, not a great show by any means. Uh,
No, not horrible either.
yeah, a lot of people dog on it, and I see why, but again, I think sometimes when you're going back and watching some of these shows years later, you're using today as a baseline against it, and you really can't do that.
Yep, that's the biggest
Uh,
problem with a lot of people. That's how
you,
they
ha
they
you have
they
to
view
say
it.
you have to say you can't. I'm struggling to put this into words. You can't watch this show and say, is it good by today's standards?
Yeah, you can't do that.
You have to
Totally
say,
different.
is it good by the standards of the time?
And the standards of the time are this. This is a show two of many.
Right.
And, this is still the product of, doing Saturday night's main events, house shows, things of that nature. This is still something that's growing into being something really special. But at the same time, like this is what the product of the 80s was as well.
Yeah. I will say that one of the good things about Vince at this time is that I think he learned lately. He wasn't afraid to risk things. He wasn't afraid to try new things, but he also
Yeah,
learned.
yeah.
So he's like, why don't we try, how can we make this bigger than WrestleMania 1? Well, let's try to run it from three different venues. They did it. They realized it didn't work. They didn't do it again. You know, that's good.
I mean, I don't think
um,
it was that bad running it from three different venues, but I
I
see
think
where.
I think it hurt from the aspect um, that you're splitting your roster, so you're really isolating things a bit too much. I think having like the multiple announcing crews certainly didn't help. Because again, nobody really wanted to listen to Susan St. James or Elvira on commentary, and then you're splitting up your team, so you have Ventura with Lord Alfred Hayes, and
And I think
so
that's something too. What that was him experimenting with celebrities being on commentary as well.
yeah, yeah.
Hence why we don't see that either.
Yeah, Wikipedia sums it up by saying WrestleMania 2 received generally poor reviews, with much of the criticism being centered around the decision to hold it as three separate events across the country. Many publications ranking amongst the worst WrestleMania events of all time. I mean, it's definitely one of the lesser WrestleManias. I wouldn't even try to deny that.
No.
Um, but okay, so let's get some things here from Wikipedia. Critical response to the show was poor, with the decision to host the show in three locations being highly criticized. John Canton of TJRWrestling.net said, I'm sure that the idea of doing the show from three different venues sounded like a good idea on paper to Vince, but it was not effective in terms of producing a quality program. Voice of Wrestling's Brian Rose commented he could see why WWE went with just one arena from this point forward. Jason Powell of PowerWrestling.net was also happy to learn that subsequent WrestleManias would not be held in three arenas, saying, overall, WrestleMania 2 was excessive. The idea of running the show in three separate markets was an ill-conceived cash grab, and I'm heavy they never went down that road again. Um, you pointed out how empty the building in LA looked when they switched over to LA.
Yeah.
The crowds in New York and Rosemont sounded a little subdued, you know. So I think that was, yeah, I think maybe like that had an impact on the crowd reaction too, by having the show so splintered and everything. So it's like, let's say you're in LA. It's like, oh, great, I'm going to get to see Hulk Hogan. Oh, but I really wanted to see the British Bulldogs and Randy Savage, So,
Now I think that if they really wanted to do a pay-per-view in two different arenas, this stage of the game would be something where they'd be able to pull it off.
yeah. So,
Still
one
risky
guy
though.
here said every one of the big matches on the show was a disappointment, from the cage match, the battle royal, and the boxing match. If the big matches are poor, it hurts the whole show. Other person gave the boxing match 1 star, saying big pull apart brawl afterward, absolute crap that took way too long and ended in a non-finish. Gave the cage match 2 stars, saying it felt more like a Saturday night main event match than a WrestleMania main event. That's
Mhm.
reasonable.
That's valid.
And he gave the whole event a 2 out of 10, saying it lacks the historical significance of WrestleMania 1 to even watch it for that purpose. This was 3 hours of pain I'd love to have back.
Oh God.
I'm in a lot of pain right now, but it's not from watching WrestleMania 2. Thankfully, WWF would redeem themselves in a huge way the next year, but for this show, huge disappointment. However, that same guy said of the tag team championship match, tremendous match that breaks the streak of suck that had been this show thus far. One of the things I really liked about this match was that it seemed to break from the traditional tag team formula. There was no extended face and peril sequence, nor was there any hot tag at any point. Easily the match of the night. So that's interesting. The things that I said I kind of sort of had a problem with that match, he's praising. So that just goes to show it's all subjective.
Yeah, yeah, of course. I think next
Um,
year, like WrestleMania's 3 is definitely where they hit their stride.
yeah. Despite general poor reviews for WrestleMania 2, Brandon Stroud from Uprocks called the event superior to WrestleMania 1, commenting, WrestleMania 2 is, believe it or not, a gigantic improvement over WrestleMania 1. It's not the best show ever. It's nowhere near as important as 3, and we wouldn't get a great in total WrestleMania until 10. I don't know about that. WrestleMania 10 is basically two matches and then a lot of other stuff. with a
Yeah.
feel-good moment at the end with Brett winning. But it's the kind of thing that kicks your ass when you were a kid, and that's important. Okay. WrestleMania 2 is frequently listed by publications as amongst the worst WrestleMania events of all time, with some ranking it as the worst. Sports Illustrated summed up the event as probably wouldn't have been great even if it was all in one city, but splitting it definitely didn't help.
Mm,
Yeah.
possibly.
What's interesting though too is just kind of comparing who was on the card for this event versus who was on the card for WrestleMania 1. You
Yeah.
got a lot of the same faces: Hogan, Piper, Mr. T, Andre, John Studd, Nikolai Volkov, Iron Sheik, Orndorff, um, Valentine, Beefcake, JYD, Tito. But then he had a bunch of newer guys. Bundy was also on that first group. You had guys who were on this card who weren't on the WrestleMania 1 card. You had the Funks, you had Adonis, you had Hercules, you had the Bulldogs,
Yeah.
you had the Hearts. Even though it was kind of almost like a last hurrah, you had San Martino, Morales, as they weren't, guys to build on or anything. You had the Killer Bees. You had Savage and Jake. So you also saw where you had kind of your next few guys,
Yeah.
were going to be big deals. And you got to think about it. A lot of those guys that I just mentioned were guys who were cornerstones of the company for at least the next 5 years or so.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So that's kind of important too.
No, it definitely is. Yeah, I mean, this WrestleMania 1 and 2 are what they are. Were they great by any means? No. Did they work for what they needed to do? Yes. Did they take some chances? Absolutely. And then, he took some chances for WrestleMania 3 as well. But to be honest with you, I think that's it. It worked for WrestleMania 3. And then he kind of got his shtick for how the format was going to be moving forward and, making WrestleMania is what it is today.
Yep. I mean, probably a little overcooked with the celebrities on this one too, and I think
Yes.
that was also very much an impact of having it split over the three venues because in addition to needing like three sets of announcers and three sets of ring announcers. Then he also was like, okay, let me also bring in, we'll have celebrities as judges for the boxing match. We'll have celebrity ring announcers for the main event at each venue. So
Celebrity
that was definitely
referees for the Battle Royal.
right. That was definitely overkill.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely a little bit. This was definitely overblown with all the celebrities. Even looking at Wikipedia, like reading it, and it's like, oh my God, we had all these people. Like, holy shit. Like, this is a bit
Well,
much.
yeah. And what's
The
also funny,
timekeepers, Jesus.
so on Sporkle, which is like the internet, quiz site, so they have like and because anybody can create a quiz and everything. There's one guy who has like a complete the card series for like every WrestleMania.
Okay.
So when you go to his complete the card for WrestleMania 2, so it's arranged by matches, and like the clues are, face, heel, heels manager, champion, challenger, champion's valet, that kind of stuff. So, you got all 12 matches listed. Then like the other like battle royal participants is his own category. Then there's two other categories: other talent, which is the regular commentators, ring announcers, and Ray Charles for singing America the Beautiful, and that's the quiz for him. And then you have this other category, which is only for this WrestleMania: pointless celebrity guests. New York commentator, which is Susan St. James, Chicago commentator, which I'm not sure, it would have been Kathy Lee Crosby, LA commentator, which was Elvira, New York ring announcer, as I'm guessing that was Joan Rivers, LA ring announcer, so that was probably Tommy Lasorda, and then the New York, Chicago, and LA timekeepers, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Overdone with some of it. 100%.
I mean, again, well, hey, anytime you can get Herb and the Where's the Beef Lady.
Two rival fast food joints, Burger King and Wendy's.
Well, think about this then too. With no apologies to Rick Schroeder, because I think he was the LA timekeeper. And I do mean that. No apologies. Uh, if you have the Burger King guy at New York and you have the Wendy's woman at Chicago,
Where's the
why
Mickey
can't you
D's
find
guy?
a McDonald's associated person for LA?
Where's Ronald McDonald when you need him?
Right,
Right?
right.
Seriously. How can we have Ronald McDonald? What's going on here?
You know what? And yeah, oh, okay. I'll do you one better. I'll do you one better. If Ronald wasn't available, surely the Hamburglar was.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. People knew who the Hamburglar was in the 80s. Come on now.
I mean, yeah. I mean, to the decision makers at WWF in 1986 for not getting the Hamburglar to be your special guest timekeeper in LA, I only have two words to say to you. Robble, robble.
Damn right. Poor decision. Poor decision, I'd say.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously not a tremendous show, obviously not a great show. There were a few good moments. I guess I'm not as harsh on some of the matches as some of the other people were, like from some of those reviews I just read.
Well,
But
the
again, I
other,
think all those people were writing those reviews years later, probably basing it more off of like what they've been seeing for the last 10, 15 years as opposed to what was like, par for the course or whatever in the
yeah,
80s.
and that's the challenge, honestly.
Yeah.
Because your
And
mindset's already in that zone to like what you've already been accustomed to for X amount of years, and then you're going back to review something that's from the beginning, and it's hard to judge it properly.
yeah. And Vince is always the kind of guy, to coin a term that was either Bruce Pritchard or Jim Ross would say on their podcast. You know, it was about the sizzle, not the steak. That has always kind of been Vince's promotional uh, philosophy. He's more concerned with getting you into the building than pleasing you once you're there.
Yeah,
You know?
very true.
At that time, that was really kind of all you had to do. People didn't know what work rate was yet. So
Yeah, a lot
when
of that
people
shit didn't
became more
exist.
aware of what work rate was, he tried to shift in that. He was still trying to, of course, sell you the show and everything, but he was also like, we got to put on stuff that people are going to want to see in terms of the in-ring action and not just do these like plotting big man on big man matches and what have you. So
Yeah, nope, 100%. Absolutely. I mean, it was fun to watch. Definitely a fun watch, you know. We got WrestleMania 3 coming up, with Steamboat versus Macho Man, and then,
yeah,
the
I mean,
Andre versus Hogan spectacle that it was for the Body Slam Heard Around World.
yeah. So I mean, WrestleMania 3. I mean, it's you got Hogan, Andre, you got Savage, Steamboat. You got the Hart Foundation and Danny Davis against the Bulldogs and Tito. You've got the loser must bow match between JYD and King Harley Race.
Yep,
You've got the hair versus hair match between Roddy Piper and Adrian Adonis.
yep.
Um, you've got the oh shit. There's another fairly significant match I'm now forgetting. Oh, the grudge match between Jake Roberts and the Honky Tonk Man.
Oh yeah, yes.
Um, and what else did you have in the card? The Can-Am Connection against Orton and Morocco.
Yep.
Hercules against Billy Jack Haynes. Hillbilly Jim, the Haiti Kid, and Little Beaver against King Kong Bundy, Little Tokyo, and Lord Littlebrook. The Dream Team
Oh
against
yeah.
the Dream Team against the Rougeos. Butch Reed against Coco Beware, and the Killer Bees against the Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov. So it's a pretty good card.
Yeah. No, absolutely is. Um, and the commentators, we got Monsoon Ventura, and then we
And
have, I
that's
guess,
really it. Yeah, like Bob Euchre,
does two matches. Mary Hart does
Mary
the
Hart
six
does
man
match.
tag. Bobby
Heenan
Heenan
does a match.
does
Yeah,
the
and
the two match. Yeah.
Vince really Vince doesn't appear much on camera at WrestleMania 3. I know he's in the ring at
He's
the
a
beginning of the
he's an
show.
interviewer, I think.
I don't remember him doing any interviews during the show though. So, I'm probably just not remembering.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. You only have like celebrities. Aretha Franklin sings.
Aretha Franklin does a great rendition um, of America the Beautiful on that show.
Yep. And then Alice Cooper's with Jake Roberts.
Yep.
But other than that, there's really, I mean, Bob Uecker. Yeah, that's really it. There's nothing
Yeah,
crazy.
nobody complains about the celebrity involvement in WrestleMania 3 because Bob Uecker was just so damned entertaining. Uh, you got Aretha Franklin just sang America the Beautiful, and which you would reprise like I think like 20 years later when they did WrestleMania 23 in Detroit. I'm pretty sure she did it again,
Yeah.
which was nice. Um, Nobody complains about Alice Cooper, but it's like I never really understood why he was there.
I never understood why he was with Jake Roberts either.
Yeah. And Mary Hart, I don't remember much about Mary Hart's involvement on this show, but she wasn't she probably wasn't on camera long enough to be as annoying as Susan St. James was.
Yeah. I mean, that tag match was the third longest match of that pay-per-view that night, too.
Oh yeah, I forgot to for the last two matches, I forgot to mention yeah, the Funks beating Tito and JYD 111.42, Hogan beating Bundy 111 minutes. Trying to see if it says here why Alice Cooper was
Yeah, I don't remember.
Alice Cooper was from Detroit. That's the only reason why? Okay.
Yeah, he was the local celebrity. Okay.
Yeah, he's from Detroit, so I guess that's why. All right. I mean, I don't have any issues with Alice Cooper. So,
Hmm. All right then. Well, fans, thank you for watching. Maybe hit those clicks, like, subscribes, message us with this stuff, and let us know what you thought of these WrestleManias if you're rewatching them and whatnot. But yes, we will get this posted shortly, and then on to WrestleMania 3 for however long it takes us to get all the way up to the current WrestleMania. It'll be fun. But it is time for us to go. And like Jeremy likes to say, I'm gonna steal his shtick. I hope you finished with us. Yeah.